Good evening and welcome to the group discussion oblique debate, which is being conducted by Synapse, the Socio-Linguistic Society. Samriddhi,
आवाज
please
clear
go
नहीं आ
to the next slide. Okay, so before starting the session, I'll be explaining the rules and of course the topic. The topic for today's group discussion is gender equality, inequality, and its different perspectives. So moving ahead to the rules, the first rule, as you can see in the presentation, all the participants are allowed to speak in this session, and they'll be speaking only when the mediator or the host allows them to speak. I'm the mediator for today's group discussion. So you just have to raise your hand and I'll be, letting you speak. You can express your point of view. The second rule, no participant will target any particular person or discriminate between anything. The third rule, this is a healthy group discussion where conclusions would be drawn at the end by the mediator, that is me. The fourth rule, the best three participants who represent their points in a very effective way would be awarded a certificate from Synapse Society. The fifth rule, there is no time limit for anyone to convey his or her views, but will ensure that all express themselves completely. The sixth rule, you can contradict, agree, disagree, oppose anyone, but in a respectful way. That's the only condition to ensure that the session is in a disciplined way. Samriddhi, make sure if I'm audible, right?
You're audible.
Yeah, thank you. And the last rule, of course, English is the expected language, but if you want to communicate in Hindi, you definitely can. These were the set of rules, and I'll be the mediator. I'll ensure that the group discussion goes on very effectively in a disciplined way. Samriddhi, you can proceed to the next slide. Proceed to the next slide. As I've already told, the topic is gender equality and inequality and its different perspectives. Samriddhi, you may proceed ahead. Sure. So let's start the group discussion. Let me initiate a particular topic. Okay, what we will be actually doing. This is just a casual group discussion. This won't be carried out in any official way. You're supposed to express your point of view in English or in Hindi, but just make sure you respect everyone. You don't discriminate in any sense, and you don't sound disrespectful. Okay. So the topic, as you can see in the presentation, is gender equality and inequality. The first point that I want to raise in this group discussion is education and career opportunities. Now, basically, you can see in today's society where women are provided less education opportunities as compared to men. So if anyone, no, I'm clearly audible. It might be only for you due to your network issue. And I request you to mute yourself. Okay, I'll allow you to speak and then only you are allowed to speak, or else it will be a mess. So the first topic that I want to initiate in this group discussion is education and career opportunities. Well, basically, many of the women in today's age are not provided the equal educational and career opportunities as compared to men. So if any one of you has to speak anything, he or she can raise his or her hand. I'll allow them to speak and can convey his or her point of view. Any one of you can go ahead by just raising your hand. Yeah, Tanvi, go ahead.
Yes, so you said that women are not provided equal educational and career opportunities. So I'd like to know in more detail about what exactly are we talking about as not being provided equal opportunities? Because in general, from the perspective of a woman myself, I see that at least for majority of the world's population, women are having all the rights to access education and career opportunities. So what prevents that from being, what prevents the access from being granted for some of them is the socio-cultural situations where they live in, rather not the opportunity itself being not accessible for women, but I believe that it is the situation that they live in which prevents them from accessing such things, but not because it's not illegal or unlawful for them to access it, because I believe that any woman who wishes to do it can actually do it technically, but what prevents them is the situation, but not the uh, education or career opportunities not being available to them.
Okay, I'll contradict your point. The reason why I mentioned this point initially, because if you look at the metro cities of India, I'm just talking about India. Let's leave the rest of the globe aside. But if you look at the metro cities in India, for example, Delhi, Pune, Mumbai, in these cities, the education opportunities for both for men and for women are equal. But if you look at the rural areas where the education hasn't been reached yet, like many of my friends are themselves from rural areas. So what I have seen is in those rural areas, the girls are still not provided the support or the facilities which boys are provided, which men are provided. This is what I was trying to say. It might be happening in the developed areas, in developed cities, but in rural areas there is still a problem where women still face the issue. Like for example, if there is a woman X, if she wants to study for a competitive exam, let's say JEE or NEET, she won't be provided the necessary facilities by her parents. But if the same person is a boy, he will be provided the same facilities. I'm talking about the rural area situation. So this is what I was trying to state, and that's the reason I initiated this topic. Niharika, you can proceed.
I'll just add to your.
Yes, sir.
I'll
Just
just
a
add
second.
what Ayush was
No, no,
saying.
no. Just a second, Sky. I'll allow you to speak, but let Niharika speak first so that it goes in a systematic way.
Sure, sure.
I agree with Tanvi's point in some manner. She said that women's education is not illegal or something. Of course, it's not. But I think the topic which you initiated, it was gender inequality with respect to education, right? So
Exactly.
I
That was
think,
the first part.
yeah. So I think its roots are in the history of India, because long back ago, women were forced to marry early, and there were always these cultural norms or stereotypes. So women have been lacking uh, a fair means of education long before, like 2 or 3 centuries ago. From 2 or 3 centuries ago, this has been happening. And of course, today it's not as serious. It's, of course, women have the equal opportunities. But of course, over time, it takes time to remove such norms. So you said in rural areas is it's still the case. So of course, in urban cities, people don't have as such a conservative thinking, but in rural areas, we cannot control that. The people have their own thinking. They have the old age thinking or conservative in a way, and probably it will still take time to reach their root of thought, that how it's important in today's era to provide them with the same education opportunities, because it's very crucial, and education is the first step which leads to every other opportunity which women and men will have further in their lives.
Hmm. So adding to what I had stated, see, the government of any country does implement equal educational opportunities for both men and women. This is obviously true, even the government of India. But if you look at the family situation, the parents don't allow, like in some areas, I'm not talking about each and every part of the country, in some undeveloped states where still the women education is an issue, there I must say that parents don't allow the women to get proper education, even if they want to. Okay, that's what I'm stating. The opportunities are available everywhere. It's completely legal. It's legal as per the constitution, but the family situation doesn't allow a woman to educate. That's what I was trying to state, adding over to my point. Sky, you are saying something, you can proceed.
I was just trying to add to what you were saying, that it's usually people believe that it is only limited to rural areas, but then it is also limit. It also comes to urban areas. Also, people like families in urban areas also do that. Like if she's a girl, she will study arts. If he's a boy, he will study medical or engineering because of the fee structure and all that. So it
Definitely,
also happens
definitely.
in
This is
urban
what
areas
I was
also.
saying.
Yeah.
This is what I was saying. Yeah. Aditya, you are raising your hand. You can proceed. Okay, I'll allow everyone to speak. Okay, I'll allow everyone to speak. Just be patient.
Just like to make the point that just the mere existence of right does not ensure education. Right? Just because there are some words written in the Constitution does not ensure implementation. And it is illegal in Afghanistan after the takeover of the Taliban. Women are being stopped from getting educated. So the issue is a serious issue and it needs to be looked upon because women's education is viewed as a waste of investment. Because in rural areas and in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, I will ignore metropolitans and some cities like Bangalore or Hyderabad. But in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, it can be seen as waste of money because people assume that after they have graduated, they will become homemakers and take care of the children and whatnot. So just because the law exists doesn't ensure implementation. Implementation comes from deliberate and robust steps from the government and citizens as well.
I got your point. Manish, you may proceed if you want to say anything.
Yes, sure. Just adding to all of your points, my view is that government has done enough in a legal way, like giving the rights and all. They have done quite well, giving more like somewhere reservation, somewhere encouraging women. But the problem remains in the social area. Like there's no one to educate the people that okay, these are the rights, you can access them. Why you should access them? Because the laws are there. Okay, reservations are also there, but there's the mindset mainly has to be changed now. People are everywhere. When we talk about gender inequality or something, people say that okay, change this law, bring more reservation for people like girls and all. But okay, what will you do even after bringing reservation if the mindset of the parents or the society doesn't change it, that they at least should get basic education, at least the bare minimum. So my point is that instead of changing laws and giving more reservation now, we should start focusing on the social side of it.
I got your point. Basically, the mindset you're trying to say is what matters in this field, in the field of education, right? But even
Yes.
if the like, what I feel is, in many of the families I have seen where the parents are basically educated, they are very well educated, they're doctors, they're engineers, but still the women education is an issue in that particular family. Even though the parents are educated, they have a modern mindset. Still, they don't provide the necessary facilities for the girl child. For the boy child, for the male child, the same facilities are provided. Is what I have seen. I'm saying this from my personal experiences. That might not be true for anyone else over here. Afra, you may proceed. Afra Fatima.
Yes, sir. I would also say that while girls in urban cities are encouraged to study, it is mostly just for namesake. They are only pursuing degrees because their parents need them to study to get them married. I have witnessed this with so many of my peers. Their parents don't want them to pursue any masters. The bare minimum is an undergraduate just so they could have a degree for namesake to get them married. So this would also not come under gender equality, even though they are being given the opportunity to study.
Got your point. Tanvi, again.
Yes. Like I had said earlier, a lot of them have stated their points. I'd like to add one more thing, which is the general situation, because we're talking about education and the reach of education. And also we talked about the mindset of people who are actually technically well educated in terms of like on paper, they are well educated, but why are they not actually doing it for their own children who could be women? So I think the root of this stems from, like others have pointed out, the mindset. And a good example of this, which I have noticed, is that when people work, especially in sectors like IT, also, it's seen that the woman who gets married would actually be doing her best at work, because you're expected to do all that you're supposed to do at work round the clock. And in case there's an emergency, you have to work overtime to manage the crisis and things like that. Men also do the same. But the actual problem which comes here is the mindset being perpetuated. Like it continues even to this day that the woman would actually do her part in managing the house and raising the kids and also work full time. There is a change which there has been a significant change in the past 2 decades. I'd say from the 90s there has been a significant change, a shift in terms of the workforce consisting of women or the shared responsibilities in a family. So when we have addressed all of the problems, but when it comes to the solution part, what exactly creates what exactly would help us create equality? Because as far as government policy is concerned, as far as work opportunities are concerned, they're all available, like the others have pointed out. And we also understand work culture. We also understand the culture in as far as India is concerned, because we were talking about India, that the mindset stems from the family structure and shared responsibilities. And when that is being done, the girl, like others have said, that the girl gets married. And because she has to marry, she is made to do a degree for namesake to get a guy and marry. And then just the same legacy is being perpetuated, like woman being the person who handles the house, man being the one who works outside the house. So it's not like every one of them have the same ideology about woman doing her chores is not even being considered as work, but it's just considered her duty, whereas the man working or not working is considered a choice. And the man letting the woman work, the man letting his wife work or letting his daughter study and work is actually, like I said, a facility which is being provided, but not like it's not seen as a responsibility for letting them. It's not letting them. It's just that not interfering in somebody wanting to do what they want to do. It could be a traditional role too. A woman can choose to be a person who takes care of the house and not wish to study also. And that also needs to be understood, that it is not only when a woman or a man works outside. Uh, they could be wanting to be a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home daughter to take care of their parents, or it could be anything. So we need to shift the mindset of traditional roles, gender roles, which are played by people, to actually understand about these things, like to create awareness among people by talking about it. The more we talk about it, the more there would be the solution for this is possible.
I definitely got your point. Adding over to Tanvi's point, what I've seen in Eastern Maharashtra, which is called as Vidarbha. So in Vidarbha, we have districts like Amravati, Nagpur, Gadchiroli, and Chandu. Sorry, I don't know, Yamatmal. So these districts basically, are kind of an underdeveloped districts as compared to the Western Maharashtra, where Pune and Mumbai, such districts are present. So if you look at the Eastern Maharashtra, basically before like 20 to 30 years, the women education was not allowed at all. Okay, I'm saying not at all. Like if you look at the women who are representing the region, there were no women who were representing anything from the eastern part of the Maharashtra, whereas western part was very well educated in as compared to the eastern part. But then government introduced some schemes and some other policies which kind of changed the situation. And if you look at the present situation, I won't say it's good, but it's like better as compared to the previous one. Okay, previously they weren't allowed at all. At least if you look in today's days, at least 25% of them are allowed to take education, however where they want to, in the eastern part of Maharashtra. And in the western, the mindset of the people is kind of developed due to the modernity, due to the Western culture adoption. So there the women education is supported in a very different way on a vast scale. Ayush, Shashikant, you may proceed.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Mahesh. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Okay, so taking your point forward, actually, this is what I have noticed in Maharashtra specifically too. I've noticed that the areas or the regions in any what we can say a greater region we can imagine of any subcontinent also, the area which is more economically flourished, we can say that there the mindset is changing and it is changing very fast. So the key to, I think the key to catalyze the process of changing the mindset could be coming from economical status of the region. So this was one of my points. So this is one parallel things which I have observed regarding the mindset. And my second point was I don't know exactly if I'm contradicting or agreeing with Niharika. The point she said about the older India. Okay, so the knowledge which I have, I think before colonial era, I think before 200 to 300 years before colonial era, the situations were such that at that time, whatever the things were there to be carry out the day-to-day operations very efficiently. So I will refer a book called Sapiens. I think in some of the chapters of Sapiens, it is referred by Noel Harari that it was actually a way to improve the efficiency of the working at that time. So those were the cultures that were carried at that time. So we cannot say that it was because of the olden rich culture we are facing this. I think history takes a course and it is taking right now. So that was my point. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a point.
Just a second. Just raise your hand. I'll allow you to speak. I can see Sky's hand raised. So
Yeah.
Sky, you can proceed.
Yeah, I just wanted to add what I was speaking previously. And also this is not like it's a positive thing actually that I want to talk about. So from the point where we are coming from to present, currently women in college, like women in India that are in college, it is one of the highest percentage across the world. If not highest, definitely somewhere in the top 5. So I would say that that's a great success considering like 75 years of independence. So the real problem actually comes is it doesn't translate into work participation, like they don't get into jobs. And also the one more problem is not getting into STEM fields. Usually, like as somebody said that these college degrees are usually for the namesake, right? I think Arfa said. So the real issue is that the mindset of the society that when women are getting educated, what is the purpose? Are they really want to get into job? So that is the main issue. And about government has to basically make the workplace environment in such a way that it becomes conducive for women to work. It becomes easier for women to work and for their families to say yes. Like, I mean, somebody would say that who is the family to allow for them to work, but then a lot of people would like back out because the workplace environment is not very conducive for women to work, or if they get married or have kids, then it becomes very difficult for them to work. So all these factors together contribute to today 50% women going to colleges, but only 20% are in the workforce participation. So this gap needs to be basically filled, and that can be done, I mean, with activism toward the social changes and also intervention from the government and to take this in the right direction. Yeah, thanks.
Got it. Soham, you can proceed. I can see many hands are raised, so I'll just let everyone speak now. I won't convey my POV. Soham, you can proceed.
See, one of my peers talked about that efficiency. Well, efficiency in today's world means the amount of money we can maximize. But in rural areas, there is a lack of opportunity. women, even if they get educated, they cannot get jobs. The similar is the case for men, but men have to get jobs. There is a sense of I mean to see the culture that men must work, but in the case of women it is not the same thing. Women may not work or they may work. The parents are often afraid that the women may get married and their investment will be of no use. This is one of the primary causes of women not getting education in our country. I feel that the only way to solve this is to remove that option that women can work or cannot work. If women have to work, just like it is rooted in our culture, that men can work, men have to work. Like that, if becomes rooted in our culture that women have to work, then only can we maximize our efficiency.
Excuse me,
Got your
guys.
point. You're talking about the deep-rooted masculinity that is present in today's society. We definitely have to change this way of thinking. Thank you, Soham. Niharika, again, you can proceed.
Actually, I would like to keep 2 points here. First of all, the someone just said that it's the men have to work. Actually, that is all about masculinity, but we also have to look at this perspective that it's women's choice. Means, of course, there are all the opportunities and all, everything is present today. We cannot look past that. We cannot just be stuck on the point that it's not available, that women have always been put back. It is true in some cases, but we cannot look past all the opportunities the government, the society has provided to women as well. So I think it's the women's choice also at the end of the day, because I have seen women who do not want to work. They want to be housewives. They want to, keep it to themselves, keep it to their personal lives. And I can see in the chat that people are saying that women haven't, they don't have a bigger contribution in the GDP. So of course they don't, because most of the women do not work out of their own will. I have seen this. And another point kept by uh, Ayush, he said that no, it was kept by you actually, that in Vidarbha, you said in Vidarbha that women's it has been behind the, as compared to the Western Maharashtra. I am from Vidarbha, and I can tell you that there has been a great change. I can see all around me. I am from Nagpur, and everyone around me, I can see it is equivalent to Mumbai or any other, or Pune or any other city you can see. The change here has been very nice, and I am 19 years old, but and in the past few years when I have been going out, in my society, I have seen this. It's been great, and women have the opportunities. It's up to their own choice that if they want to work or not. So we have to put this perspective into consideration, and we cannot just say that women haven't been given the opportunities.
Got your point. What I was actually trying to say by mentioning Vidarbha, if you look at Gadchiroli or Yavatmal districts, basically these districts were quite underdeveloped 20 years back. So the situation there was completely different as it is, in the present. Women were not allowed. That's the truth. Okay, they were not allowed. But in today's days, some policies have definitely changed the mindset and have changed the rate of women educating themselves as well in the Vidarbha as well, and of course in the Western Maharashtra. This is what I was trying to say. Sayan, you can proceed.
Hello and good evening to all. Basically, I have 2 points to make. One is the fact that one of us spoke about that the conditioning in rural areas is that they do not allow the women in their family to go out and work. And whereas in urban areas, it's quite the contrary of that. I would like to disagree with this, because even in urban areas, I myself personally know quite a lot of families who are quite, orthodox in their own thoughts and actions. As in, it's like they will not allow the daughter in their family to go out and work, whereas they will go telling other people or other families, apne ghar ki betiyon ko kyun bahar nahi jaane de rahe ho? Why are you not letting them work? That is a very dichotomous approach of, being a state of affair. That is one thing that I wish to make, that people, or that everybody in urban area is not very modern in their thoughts and actions and expressions. Second is that I would like to slightly disagree with Ayush's arguments that the fact that women facing unequal opportunities has nothing to do with our history. It is not entirely true, Ayush, because because women in our sort of history, they have been treated as third-class citizens all these years. Their opinion was of zero value. In our basically in our history, not I would again, I'm not generalizing this, but in most of the cases, women were only made to serve the the eldest member, the eldest male member of the family. That was the patriarchal society, the chauvinistic patriarchal society that we used to harbor in our history. That is how the being of women have been. They were only used to they have only been asked to serve the male. Ladke ko kya chahiye, like the moment she's born, okay, like enroll her in these ghar ke kaam, and she has to serve in the either in the kitchen, or she has to help her mother with the daily chores or whatever. And the moment she turns 14 or 15, get her married off to a a naujawan or something, and then she has to go off to her this one in-law space and serve them, serve the male. Then she has to serve what her child wants, especially what the son wants in general. That is what a woman's being women's all the entirety of woman has been all these years. But in the recent development of post-independence, that has been the British approach, I would say. But post the British era, we have seen a considerable development in the status of women. Thank you.
I got your point, and I kind of agree with you. The women were kind of boundaried by the by the family, or maybe the mindset of the people, where they weren't allowed to express their point of view. Like if you look at me, I am from Pune city. So if you look at Pune district, there are various talukas like Bhor, Baramati, Saswad. So basically in these talukas, I read hundreds of news in the newspaper, where in today's date as well, women are not allowed to take education. These are the news in the newspapers of Pune daily. I mean, I can say at least 5 or 6 times in a week, these news pops up in Pune district as well. So if you look at other underdeveloped states like Chhattisgarh or any other state which is not that developed as compared to Maharashtra, the situation is definitely the worst. I can vouch on this, seeing the present situation. Anagha, you can
I'm
proceed.
just sorry, I'm extremely sorry.
Sure.
Basically, even if you ask me about the ground reality, but in places like Chhattisgarh and Raipur, women have more being in the corporate world than in metropolitan cities like Kolkata and Bangalore. That is the ground reality there. So, it is very, even when I got to know about this, it was really quite revealing to me, because I did not expect the ground reality to be like that. So, like we expect the people, states of Chhattisgarh and Raipur to be quite backward, but then the ground reality is very different nowadays.
Might be, but I have a few friends, a few female friends to be precise, from the northern part of Chhattisgarh, from Bilaspur and surrounding areas, where they have seen such instances and they stated it to me. So I'm just forwarding it from them. The situation might be different in Raipur, which is of course a developed city, but in the northern part of the Chhattisgarh, where the mindset is still downtrodden, I feel that women education is still isn't supported over there. Not completely, at least. Anagha, you may proceed. Anagha, are you there?
May I put my points forward?
I'll let you speak afterwards, but I'm just proceeding by the way the hands are raised to get it into effective. I can see 16 hands raised. So Anagha, are you there? Okay, I guess she isn't there. Proceeding further, Sampriti, you can proceed with your point.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
One thing I want to correct is my name is Samprati. Okay.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. So as you were mentioning the thing about Chhattisgarh, so I am from Bhilai, Chhattisgarh, and Bhilai is like a very developed, not a very developed, but I would say a kind of developed city in Chhattisgarh. And the thing you said that in the northern part, and I would say that in the southern part of Chhattisgarh as well, like if you think about Bastar and Jagdalpur, it's very underdeveloped. It's about it's a tribal region. More tribal community lives there, and they don't have that mindset to teach their girls to allow them to go out of their homes and do jobs and all. And one important point I want to mention here is that it's not about there's no difference in urban area or rural area. It's the same, like the mindset of people has not changed from like from such a long time it has not changed. And I have seen even my family, even my neighbors, I have seen this, like the most educated people also have seen this, that they want a daughter. Like I am a single girl child, but even my parents have faced this, and many single girl child parents have faced this, that people like even in their family, elder ones ask them, why didn't you do a boy? Like I'm 19 years old, but still my parents have to face the situation. They are being asked, why didn't you do a boy? You should have at least one boy, at least another children. So I don't like this mindset, and I feel what basically can change the mindset of the people is that like this mindset has been built on from since ages. So what I feel is that like the future of India, the future children especially, we can change the upbringing. Like we don't have to differentiate between boys and girls, which normally has here. Like people have money people have money so that they can educate their boy with 25 lakhs like in their engineering private colleges, but they don't want to educate their girls, educate their daughters. They keep their daughters in their home, but they can make their sons go abroad, even outside region, outside their city, but they don't allow their daughters to do this. Even like the most educated people, I have seen this in my neighborhood, in my in my batchmates, I have seen this, and boys are made to do coachings and all everything, and girls are not made to do this. Girls are not allowed to do this. So what basically can be changed is that we have to change the mindset, and mindset can be changed by upbringing of the children, future children, so that the future India has we don't have to literally like discuss on this topic, gender equality, and every gender is equal. So that is what my perspective is. Thank you.
Thank you, Sampriti. Neeraj, I can see your hand is raised. You may proceed.
Sir, can we talk in Hindi?
Yeah, please.
तो सर इसका मेन रीजन ये है कि सर अगर एक लड़के को हम पढ़ा दे रहे हैं, मतलब कि जैसे बचपन में तो लड़कों और लड़कियों दोनों को साथ में पढ़ाया जाता है क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज होता है तो उसकी फीस नहीं रहती। पर जैसे जैसे बड़े होते हैं, जब 12th के बाद हम उसके आगे जाते हैं तो एक लड़की को पढ़ाना और एक लड़के पढ़ाने में अंतर आ जाता है कि सर अगर लड़की को पढ़ा रहे हैं और फिर उसकी 2 साल या 3 ज्यादा 4-5 साल में उसकी मैरिज करा देंगे हम, तो फिर सर कोई उससे आउटपुट नहीं हमारा निकल रहा है सर। और अगर वही हम लड़के को पढ़ा रहे हैं तो वो हमारी सर इसे बुढ़ापे में हमारे लिए मदद करेगा, पर एक लड़की को पढ़ाएंगे तो सर उसका कोई वो नहीं निकल रहा है। इस वजह से सर की लड़कियों को कम पढ़ाया जाता है। और दूसरी बात, अगर सर जो रूरल एरिया में आ जाते हैं तो सर वहाँ पे लड़कियों को इसलिए भी नहीं पढ़ाया जाता है क्योंकि सर वहाँ पे कल्चर ये है कि 18, 19, 20 तक होते होते लड़की की शादी कर देनी चाहिए। और सर कि यहाँ और वैसे भी है कि अगर आप इंटर 12th कर रहे हैं तो आपको वैसे 12th करते टाइम 17-18 ईयर हो जाता है। फिर उसके बाद कोई भी डिग्री कराने मतलब तो नॉर्मली बीए ही करा देते हैं कि 2 साल बीए कराते रहेंगे, उसके बाद थर्ड साल में बीए कराते टाइम उसकी शादी भी करा देंगे। तो सर और इतने पैसे भी नहीं होते कि मैं मतलब पूरे उसके लिए पढ़ा पाऊँ कि घर के हर बच्चों को पढ़ा पाऊँ। और वहीं पे जो आ जाते हैं हमारे सिटी के साइड तो वहाँ पे सर ऐसी कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। मेन रीजन यही है सर।
Thank you, Neeraj. Thank you. Krishna.
Hello.
Yeah.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are.
Sir, I would like to present three perspectives in the concept of gender equality. First is the historical perspective. Second is the socio-communal perspectives, and third, I want to provide some solutions for the gender equality. Firstly, starting with the historical perspective, I agree on the term that Sayan Mukherjee stated that years of oppression on the women have created them to make an outstanding bounce back the modern era. But there have been some instances where the women have outwitted the women in carrying and managing the society. The first one is about the perspective of a story of the Noor Jahan, who has carried the kingdom of Mughals while his husband Jahangir who was a drunkard and who was addicted to the opiums. Second one was about the story of the Rani of Jhansi, who has been a really great warrior in the terms of the history. Third one I want to say about is about the socio-communal perspectives. In the today's world, we have the
many benefits for the women and their development in the terms of the reservation and also the female-only entrepreneurship companies. So by doing this, we can bring out the changes in the society and which can improve the participation and the role of the women in the upcoming of the societies. Third one I want to speak about is the solutions for the gender equality. Firstly, the media has a greater role and a part in and giving a view to the society. First thing I want to say about is the objectification of the woman should be stopped, and which gives the message to the young generations about how we see the woman and how we treat the woman. And the objectification of women has created major problems like the harassment of the women, which lead to mental stress and various problems for the women's society. So these has to be stopped. And second one is about the having a radical and a logical mindset rather than the conservativist one. So these might bring about a various number of changes in the society, sir.
Thank you, Krishna. What I noticed one point, the way you mentioned objectification of women, that was a very valid point. I must say, I was about to state the point later on. But yeah, that was a very valid point, I must say, Krishna. Thank you, Krishna. I can
Sir,
see.
also I would like to end on a positive note. We would like to remember about the Gandhiji's quote that women are not the inferior of the society and they are the better off of the society. So we should remember that and move our way forward. Thank you, sir.
Got your point.
Hello,
Got
sir.
your point.
I want
Thank
to
you,
add
Krishna.
one. Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Just a second. Please don't speak. I'll allow everyone to speak. I'll name you and then you can speak. Okay. I can see Ananya Joshi. So Ananya, you can proceed ahead.
Yes. So I have heard many people say that education is expensive and parents rather believe in investing in the male child than the female child, and I can totally see why. But and the parents don't see the return of the investment. I'm thinking that there's a very wrong mentality there's this wrong mentality about which we are thinking, because we are linking education to participation in the workforce. Education and participation in the workforce are related, but they are not directly related to each other. Education because we are talking about women here, to educating women would make them more aware of themselves and would also encourage them to be independent and take better decisions for themselves. Even if they want to become housewives or they want to join the workforce, it's up to them. Nothing is better and nothing is bad. But even if they become housewives, they'll be able to take better decisions for their families and as well as for themselves. And they would have some say because they would be educated. So I think this problem is more societal, and we should encourage women role models, because I was thinking about this case study that boxing is very male dominant sport, but as in Manipur, Mary Kom fought the society and she became the boxing champion. And so we see so many female boxers coming from the northeastern parts. So it is because they see that their female child can do that and they have a live example in front of them. So I think we have plenty of female icons and role models we can show the society, and we can educate themselves by showing them the result of what education can do to a woman's life.
Thank you, Ananya. I must say you stated a very perfect example of Mary Kom, because she is kind of an epitome of how to fight against the societal thinking and develop your personality. So thank you, Ananya. That was an amazing point. Aditya Sahai, I can see your hand raised, so you can proceed.
Yeah, I'd just like to make a couple of points. Firstly, I think someone said that a solution for bringing or educating women is to not giving them the choice of not working afterwards, which I think is a very can go wrong and would go wrong type of point, because true freedom does not mean that you're forcing somebody to go into the workforce. True freedom means having the choice to go into the workforce if you want. Secondly, a lot of people are talking about how women have not been contributing to the GDP of India and the economy, and compared to the Western developed countries. And the major reason for this can be not can be is because women entered workforce in the Western developed countries long before India. Like in World War One, World War Two, when men were fighting wars, someone was needed to work in the factories and do labor and whatever was required. So women entered the workforce en masse since 1913, 1918. And so, which is why we see a higher participation in women among developed countries as compared to countries like India. Another point I was talking about, I agree with the Malcolm and representation thing, because representation equals good examples and which will help change mindset, and which is why I'm also in support for reservation and educational institutes for women. I see a lot of the times which reservation gets a lot of flack from people, especially the majority or the unreserved categories. But is important because it helps set good examples in society, and people can see that, oh, women can work, they can study, and they can achieve whatever they want to achieve.
Thank you, Aditya. Thank you. Yuchicha Ubi Toby. I don't know the exact pronunciation. Sorry if I'm wrong. You can proceed.
Okay. So, good evening to one and everyone over here. My name is Tanish, and I would like to put forward some points that may contradict all of your thoughts that, due to Bollywood, Western media, or any other source. तो सबसे पहले मैं हिंदी में ज़्यादा कंफर्टेबल हूँ तो हिंदी में बोलना चाहूँगा। पहला पॉइंट है कि ऑफ नॉर्थ ईस्ट, अगर हम देखें तो नॉर्थ ईस्ट में मेघालय रीजन के आसपास देखें तो उधर वुमेन के पास ज्यादा पावर है इन कंपैरिजन टू मेन। और अगर हम साउथ में भी देखें तो साउथ में भी इक्वली ट्रीट किया जाता है। और दूसरा, हमारा इंडिया 3 पार्ट्स में डिवाइड है। एक नॉर्थ जिस पे ज्यादातर बॉलीवुड फोकस करता है, जो कि ऑफ कोर्स हरियाणा की बात कर रहा हूँ मैं जहां से हूँ, पंजाब, खासकर पंजाब, राजस्थान और यूपी। इधर की हिस्ट्री कुछ ऐसी रही है कि जो वुमेन थी वो सेफ नहीं थी ड्यू टू इन्वेडर्स, तुर्की इन्वेडर्स लाइक मुगल्स एंड ऑल ऑफ देम ऑल्सो। अब यहाँ पे एक बात कर लेते हैं हम इकोनॉमिकली अपवर्ड। काफियों का ये पॉइंट है कि जो इकोनॉमिकली अपवर्ड कंट्रीज हैं वहां पे वुमेन उनको बहुत ज्यादा फ्रीडम है, उनका एजुकेशन रेशियो ज्यादा है। बट मैं यहाँ पे पुट फॉरवर्ड करना चाहूंगा गल्फ कंट्रीज की, जिसमें आती हैं सऊदी अरब, यूएई और कतर। अगर हम सऊदी अरब और यूएई की 30 इयर्स बैक की हिस्ट्री देखें तो उस वक्त वुमेन्स के पास ज्यादा फ्रीडम राइट्स नहीं थे। बट अब दोनों कंट्रीज अपने वक्त के साथ बदल रही हैं और समझ रही हैं कि उनका कल्चर थोड़ा सा अपडेट होना चाहिए। बट अगर हम कतर की बात करें, कतर जबकि पूरी दुनिया में वहां पे हर एक बंदा सबसे ज्यादा अमीर है कतर में, पर लेकिन वहां पे वुमेन के पास सबसे कम फ्रीडम है। और बाकी सभी पॉइंट्स जो भी वुमेन की उधर सबसे ज्यादा कम स्टेटस माना जाता है कतर में। उसके बाद रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ मैस्कुलिनिटी। तो अगर हम हिस्ट्री देखें, हम हिस्ट्री को, इंडियन हिस्ट्री को 3 पार्ट्स में डिवाइड करते हैं। एक होगा 1500s तक की हिस्ट्री, जब तक मुगल्स ने कोई भी अटैक नहीं करा था या और किसी तुर्की इन्वेडर ने। दूसरी हिस्ट्री 1750 से लेकर 1500 से लेके 1950 तक की। तीसरी हिस्ट्री 1950 से लेके अब तक की, और अब जो फ्यूचर में चल रही, अब तक की कहना ठीक नहीं रहेगा, 1950 से लेके 2014 तक की, और 2014 के बाद जो हिस्ट्री चल रही है उसके बारे में। ये 4 पार्ट्स में डिवाइड हो जाती है हिस्ट्री हमारी। पहला पार्ट देखें तो उसमें आती है हमारा रिच कल्चर, जिसमें गुरुकुल सिस्टम था। जो भी ये कह रहे थे कि 15 to 19 ईयर्स की एज में मैरिज हो जाती थी। तो मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा कि लॉर्ड मैक्लोए, जो कि 1835 में इंडिया पे ब्रिटिश रूल के वॉइस रॉय थे, तो उनका कहना था कि इंडिया में कोई भी बैगर नहीं है, थीफ नहीं है, हर कोई रिच है, हर कोई स्पिरिचुअली इंक्लाइंड है और सब चीजें। और ना वहां पे सती प्रथा है सती प्रथा, क्योंकि अगर हम कुंती माँ का देख लें या किसी भी आप रामचरितमानस में देख सकते हैं, काफी सारे एग्जांपल्स हैं जिनमें जिन विडोज हैं वो उनको सती प्रथा में नहीं किया गया। और दहेज प्रथा की भी ये कहना चाहूंगा, अगर आप लो वर्ग में देखें जो कि बिल्कुल इकोनॉमिकली डाउनग्रेड है आज के वक्त में, तो फिर हमारी हिस्ट्री यही रही है कि जो जैसे कि SC ST जो कि ज्यादातर वुमेन काम कर रही होती थी, तो अगर वुमेन अगर जा रही है तो फिर जो जो मेल पार्टनर है उसका, उसकी फैमिली उसको दहेज देती थी। और अपवार्ड क्लासेस में मैन सोसाइटी उसको उनको के पास दहेज जा रहा होता था। उसका रीजन सिंपल ऐसा है, बिकॉज हमेशा से जो जेंडर कंट्रीब्यूट कर रहा है फैमिली में, वो असलियत में अपनी फैमिली को कंट्रीब्यूट कर रहा है। अगर आपकी शादी हो रही है तो और आप दूसरे पार्ट में जा रहे हैं, तो आपका जो सैलरी होगा वो उनको मिलेगा। और इसी कारण से दहेज का उल्टा सिस्टम था लो वर्ग में और अपर वर्ग में। बट आज थोड़ा सा फैक्ट बदल गया है, आज के वक्त में लो वर्ग का भी दहेज उल्टा हो चुका है, जिस कारण ये दहेज प्रथा मैं मानता हूँ कि सच है, बट सती प्रथा का कोई रोल नहीं है। और हमारा गुरुकुल सिस्टम था 15 से 25 साल का, तो 15 से 19 साल की कोई भी शादी, अगर लड़कियों की शादी हो रही है, बट कर कौन रहा है मेल्स में, क्योंकि 25 साल तक तो वो ब्रह्मचार्य का पालन कर रहा होता था 1500 तक। दूसरी हिस्ट्री में लाना चाहूंगा अब 1500 से लेके 1750 तक, जिसमें हमारे पास मुगल्स आए। तो नॉर्थ ईस्ट पे तो कभी अटैक ही नहीं हुआ, तो उधर तो हमेशा से वुमेन का पार्ट रहा है अपवर्ड फ्रॉम मैन। हालांकि हम कंज्यूम नहीं करते हैं नॉर्थ ईस्ट का कुछ भी, तो आपको नहीं पता होगा, बट आज भी और हिस्ट्री में आज तक एक बार भी ऐसा नहीं हुआ कि मैन के पास वुमेन से ज्यादा राइट है नॉर्थ ईस्ट इंडिया में। अगर हम साउथ की हिस्ट्री में देखें, तो साउथ की हिस्ट्री में हमेशा से बैलेंस रहा है मैन और फीमेल में, बल्कि आज के वक्त में ऑल ओवर इंडिया फीमेल का काउंट ज्यादा है मेल से। और अब मैं अपने रीजन की बात करना चाहूंगा, नॉर्थ रीजन, जिसमें ऑफ कोर्स ये बिल्कुल बिल्कुल भी गलत नहीं होगा कहना कि यहाँ पे बहुत ज्यादा की जाती है फीमेल के साथ कि हाँ हमें मेल बच्चा ही चाहिए, हमें फीमेल चाहिए नहीं, हमें मेल को पढ़ाना है। बट इधर हिस्ट्री यही रही है, बिकॉज इन्वेड यहाँ से हुआ है, जितना भी तुर्कियों ने करा है या फिर ब्रिटिश की जो मेन पॉलिसीज रही हैं सब इसी रीजन में रही हैं। तो इसलिए उनके पास सर्वाइवल एर ऑफ वॉर था वो, और जहाँ पे भी एर ऑफ वॉर है वहां पे आपको फोर्स चाहिए, और फोर्स हमेशा मेल जेंडर के पास ही रहेगा। आई नो कि वुमेन एंड मेन आर इक्वल, बट ये फैक्ट है कि मेल के पास ज्यादा मैस्कुलिन पावर है और जरूरत प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए। उसके बाद चौथा, अगर आज के वक्त में कोई फीमेल काम भी करती है, पर लेकिन उसके बाद वो उसके पास हमेशा वो फीमेल को रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी लेनी होती है नेक्स्ट जनरेशन की, जिस कारण वो काम नहीं कर सकती, तो उस वक्त वो लेती है ऑफ अपना, और फिर वो ऑफ काफी बड़ा हो जाता है। ऑल्सो आर्टिकल 14 कहना चाहूंगा, आर्टिकल 14 ये स्टेट नहीं करता कि एवरीवन इज इक्वल, वो कैटेगरीज डिफाइन करते कि अगर ये कैटेगरी में हो तो आप इक्वल माने जाओगे। और यही हमें कहता है, यही हमें पता चलता है कि फीमेल एंड मेल आर नॉट इक्वल बट इन देयर कैटेगरीज दे आर इक्वल। और काफी सारे पॉइंट हैं, बट थैंक यू।
Oh, it's all right. Thank you so much. That was a very detailed explanation, region-wise explanation, I will say. I want to express my point of view, but I can see many hands raised, so I'll allow the others to speak. So I can see Tanishq Oja. You can proceed, Tanishq.
Okay. So next point is साउथ और नॉर्थ डिवाइडेड। वेट, हाँ मेरे यहाँ पे जैसे नॉर्थ में मैं मीडियम फैमिली से बिलोंग करता हूँ, बट जो मेरे आसपास है मैं काफियों को जानता हूँ जो हाई सोसाइटी से भी बिलोंग करते हैं और लो सोसाइटी से भी। और मैंने देखा है कि जो फीमेल्स हैं पेरेंट्स रेडी हैं उनको बाहर भेजने के लिए, यूएस, कनाडा, स्पेन, पोर्टुगल, साउथ कोरिया, जापान, मैंने सभी एग्जांपल्स देखे हैं। मैंने जितनी भी डेवलप्ड कंट्री है वहां पे गए हैं और काफी ज्यादा खर्चा रहा उनका, और पेरेंट्स को कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं थी। बल्कि आज के वक्त में अगर हम इंडिया का स्टैंड देखें, तो इंडिया के स्टैंड में यही है कि हर कोई पेरेंट चाहता है कि उसका बेटा या बेटी पढ़े, और इंडिया में सबसे बड़ी जो इंडस्ट्री है वो एजुकेशन इंडस्ट्री है। और यही मैं आप सभी से क्वेश्चन करना चाहूंगा, क्या आप में से किसी एक को भी लगता है कि अगर आप गर्ल चाइल्ड भी हो और आप अपने मदर फादर को कहते हो कि मुझे पढ़ना है, तो वो मना करेंगे? नहीं करेंगे। और हम एग्जाम्पल ले सकते हैं फोगाट गीता फोगाट का, मैरी कॉम का और प्रियंका चोपड़ा। प्रियंका चोपड़ा एक छोटी सी सिटी से भी बिलोंग करती थी। वो पहले मिस यूनिवर्स बनी, फिर बॉलीवुड एक्ट्रेस बनी, उसके बाद आज वो ग्लोबली कर रही हैं। ग्लोबली कोई भी ऐसा इंडियन एक्टर या एक्ट्रेस नहीं है जो इतना ज्यादा एसआर के अलावा जो ग्लोबली इतनी ज्यादा पावर और पावर रखता है। मैरी कॉम नॉर्थ ईस्ट से बिलोंग करती थी, तो फिर ऑफ कोर्स उधर तो सपोर्ट था ही फीमेल्स का। और आखिर में गीता फोगाट यहाँ पे इंपॉर्टेंट एग्जांपल है, बिकॉज वो बिलोंग करती हैं हरियाणा के एक हिस्से से जहाँ पे वुमेन का बहुत ज्यादा कम पावर रहती है वुमेन्स के लिए, और वहां से उन्होंने शुरू करके इतने बड़े मुकाम पे पहुंची। तो सिंपल ये फैक्ट है कि अगर आप तैयार हो, आप कुछ करना चाहते हो, तो इंडिया में ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि आपके पेरेंट्स रोकेंगे। खासकर आज के वक्त में अगर आप 1950 के बाद की बात करते तब तो था, बिकॉज उस वक्त हमारे पास ना पैसा था इंडिया के पास ही नहीं, बल्कि इधर पॉपुलेशन के पास भी नहीं था कि वो लोग आ पाते हैं। और अगर फीमेल अगर दूसरी फैमिली में जा रही है तो उधर उनके पास कोई कंट्रीब्यूट नहीं करेगा। तो उनके लिए फायदेमंद ये था अपना बेटा उसको सपोर्ट करें। और इस तरह आज के वक्त का सिनेरियो और फ्यूचर का सिनेरियो हमारा बहुत अच्छा है। पॉपुलेशन और लिटरेसी रेट भी मेरे एरिया में तो काफी ज्यादा पॉजिटिव है, चाहे क्योंकि मैं हरियाणा से बिलोंग करता हूँ, तो मुझे पता है यहाँ पे बहुत ज्यादा लोग कंसीडर करते हैं फीमेल को पढ़ाना। हालांकि जॉब पे फोकस नहीं करता कोई भी। और ये एक फैक्ट भी है कि जब मैन अर्न करना शुरू करता है तो वो रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज लेता है, और जब वुमेन अर्न करना शुरू करती है तो उससे वो रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी से फ्री होती है। ये मेजोरिटी केसेस में अप्लाई होता है, सभी में नहीं कहूंगा। ये स्टेटमेंट कॉन्ट्राडिक्ट करेगी कुछ केसेस में। थैंक यू।
Thank you, Tanishq. Adding over to you, Priyanka Chopra is obviously a perfect example, but she was kind of from a developed family. I would state a better example, which is Manushi Chilar. She's from Haryana, from your state, from Rohtak, and she's not from that well-educated family, but still she succeeded in getting a seat in government medical college. And after getting a seat in government medical college, she grabbed the Miss World title, and now she's a successful actress as well. So there are many women in the field, in the world, where basically they came up from the downtrodden society. They are very strong. We must respect them. But there are many women at the same time as well, is what I feel, which are kind of buried under the thinking of the family due to the less available facilities or due to the downtrodden thinking. So yeah, Harsh, I can see your hand raised. You can proceed.
Yeah, hello everyone. So I want to add something to the point of that guy Obito. He mentioned something about invasion. So yeah, that is true. The basic instinct of Hindus were like they developed they mentally developed according to Muslim rulers. When India was invaded, the northern part of India was invaded by Muslim rulers. So there were some cliches that were developed due to Muslim community because their ruler was Muslim. So it is naturally that if something happened which is not in their religion, they will be women were being killed, and they were being raped, and so many wrong things were happening. So Hindu males developed a basic instinct to keep their women at their home to save them. This was a defense mechanism of a human body, like of a male guy, male part of male society of India, in northern part of India. And it is really hard to remove that cliche now, because they've been doing it since centuries, and it was same in the British rule as well. They if a Britisher found a girl beautiful, and they were being kidnapped, and this was happening in only northern parts of India. That was the reason that people have this type of mindset. We can't blame them just because they have developed this thing from their childhood to protect their female partners and their female child. So we can't blame our society for that. It is their basic instinct. That's it.
Thank you, Harsh. I was going to state this point after a few amount of minutes, the criminal violence. So what I want to state in this case is, I had seen a movie called Pink. So I'll just carry forward the words that were stated by the lead actor, the actor who molested that girl. Okay, these were said by him. I'm just carrying forward the words as it is, as far as I remember. So what he said was, ये लड़कियां है, घर पे बर्तन धुलाने के लिए है, ना कि बाहर घूमने के लिए. That's what he had said in front of the honorable judge and in front of the entire court. So that's what the thinking is. Apart, if we just keep aside the educational factor which we were actually discussing, as the group discussion has taken a different round of turn, criminal violence against women is very prevailing in the society as well. Same time against men as well. But that's what it is. I mean, the mindset matters a lot in these cases. Most of the crimes which are reported against women are because of the downtrodden mindset of the people, where they don't want the women to educate themselves, where they don't want the women to develop themselves. They just want a woman to stay at home and to cook the food for others and to do all the household works. That's what I have been seeing in many of the movies, in many of the news articles.
Yeah, it is like. May I say something?
Actually, I would like to speak on this, please. तो
I'll-
जैसे आपने कहा कि
No, just a second,
मैंने ये
just a
सब कुछ
Just a second. I'll allow you to speak. Someone else was saying something, right?
Yeah, I was saying something.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, okay. See, हमारे डिफेंस मैकेनिज्म के कुछ साइड इफेक्ट्स होते हैं. जैसे हमारे एंसेस्टर्स ने तो अपनी फीमेल्स को बचाने के लिए ऐसा किया, उन्हें अब घर पे रखने के लिए बोला कि बाहर आप प्लेस सेफ नहीं है. बट जब बच्चे पैदा हुए तो उन्हें लगा कि फीमेल्स को घर में ही रखना चाहिए. फिर उनकी मेंटालिटी इस वजह से खराब हुई. ये हमारी सोसाइटी में ये केवल फीमेल को बचाने के लिए किया गया था कि पहले तो फीमेल का कंट्रीब्यूशन सेम था, बट बाद में उन्हें बचाने के लिए, उन्हें सेफ रखने के लिए घर में रखा गया. बिकॉज दिल्ली को मुगल साम्राज्य ने कर लिया था. दिल्ली को मुगल साम्राज्य के द्वारा वो किया जा रहा था, शासन किया जा रहा था. इसलिए ये हमारी मेल या someone saying something?
No.
Yeah. So obviously उसके कुछ साइड इफेक्ट हुए कि जब नए छोटे बच्चे पैदा हुए, उन्हें लगा कि फीमेल को तो केवल घर में रहना चाहिए, वो घर में बर्तन साफ कर घर में काम करती हैं और उनका काम खाना बनाना है. बट द रियल रीजन वाज टू प्रोटेक्ट देम. तो नाउ इट्स अ क्लीशे. अब तो ये वो बन गया है कि वुमेन को यही करना चाहिए नॉर्थ पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया में. बट अभी पीपल लोगों का माइंडसेट चेंज भी हो रहा है. बट इट वाज जस्ट अ प्रोटेक्टिव गेस्चर towards women.
Guys, I have a doubt कि ये जो मीटिंग है, ये हम जो मीटिंग कर रहे हैं, ये कौन से किस रीजन के पर्सपेक्टिव पे है?
हेलो, फिर से एक बार पूछना. I didn't get your point. Yes, you are audible, but फिर से एक बार पूछना.
जी हाँ, मैं ये कह रहा था कि क्या जो हम ये मीटिंग कर रहे हैं, ये किस रीजन पे के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, और ग्लोबली बात कर रहे हैं, इंडिया में कौन से रीजन से बात कर रहे हैं?
Today's group discussion will be focusing on India, क्योंकि अगर हम पूरे ग्लोब को लाएंगे, so the discussion might extend for a very long duration. इसलिए सिर्फ अभी इंडिया पे फोकस करते हैं, that will be better.
बट मैं शुरू से इस मीटिंग में हूँ, ज्यादातर नॉर्थ इंडिया पे ही फोकस कर रहे हैं, साउथ और नॉर्थ ईस्ट पे कोई फोकस नहीं कर रहा.
We'll have many people afterwards. Let the others speak. There might be many people who want to express something on South India or on other parts of India as well. As I stated Maharashtra, someone had stated South India as well, as far as I remember. So yeah, it's okay. Proceeding further,
इनकी बात तो ये था कि नॉर्थ पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया में ही सबसे ज्यादा फीमेल्स को डोमिनेट किया जाता है, और ईस्टर्न इंडिया में इतना फीमेल का कंट्रीब्यूशन सेम होता है, और साउथ पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया में भी सेम होता है.
नहीं, मेरा पॉइंट था कि नॉर्थ ईस्ट में फीमेल्स का स्टैंस ज्यादा पावरफुल है, साउथ में ऑलमोस्ट इक्वल है, मेल्स के पास कुछ रीजन में थोड़ा सा ज्यादा पावर है, और नॉर्थ में मेजोरिटी एरियाज में मेल्स के पास ज्यादा पावर है. पर अगर हम लद्दाख को कंसीडर करें तो उधर फीमेल्स के पास ज्यादा पावर है. तो ये रीजन वाइज डिपेंड करेगा कि आप कौन से रीजन की बात कर रहे हैं.
Okay, I'll request both of you to stop for a while, as I can see 12 hands raised. Nishchay, if you want to say something.
Sir, I'm audible?
Yes, you are audible.
So I would like to give a couple of points. Like someone of us was has put a point on the traditional or the post British era and about the women. So I would like to say that we come from the country where woman is compared to the goddess of fertility, and also in the South India, the woman of goddess is Mariaman. Sorry if I pronounce it in a wrong manner. So we are from the country where, like I am from the city Rishikesh, where river Ganga is flowing. So we compared the river to our mother. Like if anyone is going to the river with taking slippers or shoes, there has been multiple cases of in the police stations also. Like they are wearing the slippers and going to the river. So we are so according to our tradition, we are comparing the woman to the fertility, like before the harvesting period, all the farmers and all the people would worship the woman, the goddess of woman. So in the tradition, there are positive points also about the woman in the society. So we are not getting only on the negative points. And talking about the modern point, someone has stated a question like after 12th class women are not getting educated. So I would like to say that gradually there is a advancement in the position, like in the armed forces also. The prestigious college of armed forces, that is National Defense Academy, it is located in Pune, has allowed the women's cadet also to enter in the college. So it's a great huge step. Like in the field of armed forces, women are not allowed. From last 2 years the women have been allowed, so it is a great step by the government. Even there has been a many like BCCI. You all have heard about the BCCI. The full form is the Board of Control for Cricket in India. They have allowed the equal pay for both the women and the men. So it is also a great step. Uh, if I want to add some point, if you will all, I think you will all contradict it. Like government has also launched a reservation policy for the females, but I think that instead of reservation we should provide them a free study. Like this will create more wonders in the part of the equality, gender equality. I think giving reservation will not affect it in a good manner, but giving them the concession in the fees or the money, and or even giving them the free education will provide wonders in the gender equality. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What I feel is, government is taking necessary steps. I won't be denying that, but the steps that are being taken, they are too late. Okay, India got independent in 1947, and the constitution came into action in 1950. So it's been 70 years, and in 2020, like after 70 years, they have allowed women to, in different armed forces, as you rightly said. So it was like a too late action. They understood it late. They kind of developed their thinking. But what I feel is that's what we are talking about. Why was it too late? If this same scheme would have been introduced in 1960 or 1955, it would have definitely been a different situation in today's state. Sujita, Kanan, if you want to say something.
Hi, so I'm Sujita Kanan. I am from South India. So where someone just rightly said that, yeah, women are given more importance, or probably I would say that they are given equal opportunity to listen in South India, because as a person who have stayed across in different states, I can actually assure this, because I've stayed in Chennai, I've stayed in Bangalore, I've also stayed in Gujarat. A very easy example about, I'm sorry, I'm not specifically mentioning this state because I've faced a lot of inequality problem only in Gujarat. Or this is something which I have faced, where any man that you go to, even an auto rickshaw fellow, will not actually make a woman get into his auto if the woman is going to be traveling alone, or if she is going to be traveling with a child, because I faced it a lot. Now, coming to the point, why I say South India is much more, forward thinking, because in my family, yeah, we are married early. Now, I'm one of the married people here. I'm one of the married people here who is still continuing studies. I'm a mother of a 4-year-old, but I would always say that first thing for gender equality, does it come from the society? Does it come from the family? I would not say all of that. The very first thing would be from the woman herself. How many of we women actually say, no, I want to study? How many of we women actually say, even after I marry, I am still going to be with my family. I will support my family first. I definitely agree that my husband's family is also my family. But have any of the women, because I did this in the very first meet with my husband, the very first thing that I told him was, see, I am born in a family of two girls, where I'm the elder daughter of the family. So it is very quite obvious, though I am being married at an early age, I will definitely support my father, or I'm going to be supporting my parents, even after marriage, which right now, even after marriage, I am doing. How many women have the guts to say that? I would not say, no, I am from an educated family, so I did this, so someone supported me. It always comes from within. So first thing that influence a woman's equality comes from the woman herself. Second thing, obviously family. I am very grateful for getting a very, very lovely husband and a very lovely father, because my dad is still ready to look after my educational expenses, and he's very, very, very clear about it, that even after 8 years of marriage, today I want to actually do something in IIT Madras. My dad is still funding my education. And my dad is definitely not questioning me if I'm going to be financially supporting me in the future. It's my decision again. And my husband has never questioned it. How many of us, we women, has always had the guts to go back to your husband and say, yeah, you look after your parents, right? Can I look after? Or who are you to stop me from doing that? I don't think so. Any woman would be having the rights to say that, right? Or even we have the guts to say that, right? So gender equality should start from self.
May I speak something, Sujita Kannan?
Okay,
Yeah,
Kanish,
sure.
coming to the point, I completely disagree with you saying that
Thanks.
women are not equal in power. Let me remind you, you are in this world definitely because of a woman.
Truly.
Okay, because I'm a woman, and someone actually
Yes.
told that career decisions are being influenced. A woman is actually giving up after marriage, or a woman is not trying to get educated after marriage, or she gives up because of house responsibilities, everything.
Please don't mute me, because I'm not able to listen after my mic mute. I don't know what is the problem.
Oh, you might be muted because of the huge participants in the Zoom. Yeah, Suji, ma'am, you may proceed.
Yeah. So, okay. Now, a very clear example of my grit and my determination was I gave my CA inter exams when I was on active labor. And again, that is my decision. I gave the exam. Immediately after giving the exam, I was immediately hospitalized for my child's birth. So it again depends on the woman. How many of us have the grit to say any woman in the family, in the whole society, that I want to do this and you have no rights to stop me? That is one thing. And degrees are definitely not namesake. Someone actually said that women are taking their degrees for namesake. I'm a chartered accountant. I always had an interest towards coding. I became a coding teacher, and today I'm in IIT Madras doing BS degree because of my sole interest in computer programming. So one thing is all about us. Yes, I definitely agree that society is always going to be questioning a woman like me, that, oh no, your child is not looked after properly, or, oh no, what will your husband be able to do? Will he be able to manage? Be an example. Because many of them are still telling me that, Sujita, you are doing completely different than what we don't know to do, or which we don't have the guts to do. So women, gender equality always comes from a person. You stand determined. There are many entrepreneurs who were determined to create something. And that's why they are supposed to be one of the best entrepreneurs. Like Sudha Murthy. Or, I mean, she's not an entrepreneur, but yes, she supported her husband.
Yes.
But still, we always take her as a best example for women empowerment, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Uchicha, I request you to mute yourself. Let her speak.
Okay. And coming to the point, like, yes, I can still understand that in the rural India, the education, this thing is not there. But still, I would not say that it is completely zero. There are many parents, including my father, who was completely influenced with rural upbringing. If my father can change, I think everyone else can change. In fact, at one level, my husband wanted to have a girl child because of my father's determination that my daughter is my daughter, even after she is married into a different family. It comes from us. The change is from us. And the government perspective, what I feel, something which can help with gender equality is probably giving more tax exemptions for educating a woman child, or in the rural thing, there should be more social knowledge, or if at all, if you're one of the society member who is actually going to be jealous, sorry, men population, who is jealous of another woman developing, please stop that from happening, because you will have to be the change to see the change. Yeah, that's all about my point. Thank you for the opportunity.
Kudos to you, Suprita ma'am.
Let me speak. Okay, Uchita, I'll ask you to speak. You can mute yourself. It will just disrupt the decorum. Thank you so much, ma'am. And it's indeed great to have people like you in our degree. I mean, you are an inspiration for all of us, as you stated your personal experiences. Proceeding ahead, Balamitra, you can convey your POV.
Excuse me, I think you skipped me by mistake. If you could let me speak, because I was in the queue.
I don't know. In my device, I can see Balamitra at the top. So I'll proceed that way. No, let's not disrupt the decorum. Let Balamitra speak first, and then I'll allow you.
Okay, sure.
Yeah,
Hello?
Balamitra, proceed.
Yeah, I would just like to contradict someone's earlier opinion that women were starting to develop only after the British came to India and made some great reforms, like the abolition of sati or the abolition of child marriage. But earlier, during the 14th century onwards, in South India, the Vijayanagara Empire had several leaders who were women. Most of their generals and great warriors, as well as singers, dancers, painters, all were women. Also, in the Nayakaship kingdom of Madurai, there were also two great queens, Queen Meenakshi and Queen Mangammal, who had protected the kingdom very well against foreign invaders like the Carnatic Sultanate, etc. So that was my point.
Thank you, Balamitra. Thank you. Now I can see Tanvi, and after that I can see Sky. So Tanvi, you can convey your POV.
Yes, I have a long list of things to point out. So first thing, I agree with Sujita for pointing out that women need to start from within. The equality starts within. So I agree with that point. And I have several other anecdotes to quote, which reinforce this point. And also Balamitra saying that history, women were treated as equals. Many of the people in the beginning were talking about years of male chauvinism, patriarchy, and women being oppressed. And this narrative is actually something which stems from Victorian England, to be honest, because if you look at the society, how societies have evolved over centuries, and also one of them were quoting the book Sapiens about how societies were built around maximizing the efficiencies of the inherent qualities which are present in individuals, and that is something which was very much present in India, which was one of the most advanced civilizations to exist, a civilization which still continues to exist till present day. And the most underlying most important, significant part of this, which we have discussed. Some of them have discussed that women being portrayed as the divine. Shakti is female, it's feminine, an attribute of strength, an attribute of what's considered prakriti is formed in a feminine aspect. And women were very well respected. Women had all the rights possible for education. It's just that traditionally, the role of the woman in ancient India, to maximize that, women, most of them chose to be with the family and do what they're doing, and it just continued in a generational thing. But if you look at the Westerners, this concept of equality is not a borrowed concept from Western nations. It is not something that we borrowed only when women's rights began to gain momentum, starting with 18th century authors like Jane Austen, Virginia Woolf, other such people who began to talk about these things. It began in the West. But when you take about the women's rights activism in India, it's not like we required a movement of activism in India to facilitate equal rights for women, because fundamentally women were seen as equals within India from ancient times, from classical antiquity. We could look at any of the historical texts which are present. Many people quoted queens. There are queens who fought against the British. Less quoted example is Rani Abbaka from southern India. She is the queen of Ullal, by the way. She fought against the Portuguese and she was successful, by the way. And another example is, do women actually engage in warfare? Which is clearly present with the example of Rani Abbaka and several others for that matter. And if you take the example of southern India, even to this day, there is a woman keeping the art of kalari alive. Kalari payattu. It's a martial art which originated in India, which led to the development of other Eastern Asian martial arts like taekwondo, karate, judo, and all such arts. The origin is from Kalaripet. It is much more ancient, and the art form is being preserved by a lady, and she's teaching it to a lot of people. And to this day, nobody has bet her in the fight with Kalari. And also about women role models. We are getting more role models in present day, and also that some were saying that women also have to work. Men also have to work. To be honest, we don't even have to say it. You have to work in order to survive out there. And the problem was talked about again and again repeatedly about North India, which many others have also pointed out, that is women being dependent on men, or men being dependent on the woman in case the woman is earning. Actually, the mindset which people talked about, masculinity of a man wanting to be the breadwinner of the house. Woman can also choose to be the breadwinner of the house. And also the society should be more accepting of the choice a woman makes and a choice a man can make too. A man can also be a stay-at-home dad. So equality works both ways. It comes with the upliftment of those who are drowned, who are actually oppressed. I'm not saying there is zero oppression. There is oppression happening, which has actually begun with the Victorian policies which came within India, like criminalizing homosexuality, or making women not. They were just imposing the kind of society which was present in Regency era, Victorian era England. They were just bringing those value systems here. And also, as many others pointed out, the reforms didn't begin with the British. The problem started with the British, in fact. And the values which we have on equality, we didn't require a women's rights movement here as massive as what happened in the West for things to change. And someone else pointed out that the development aspect or contribution of women towards GDP in a historical context is that women began to enter the workforce in the West during times of war, and their countries were formed much before India was formed as a nation right now. Also, another thing is that domestic violence can be minimized with awareness being present within women about the law and about what she can exercise as rights. And also, I completely agree with the points Danish has made about the history, about the invasions. Let me tell you one point about the invasions which happened in India, which were largely of Islamic nature. And later it was a British trade kind of a thing which started. I think we are all very well read on how the British invasion started. So the Islamic invasions, the main fact which is there even in a lot of these anecdotal archaeological evidence which is there, which states that the people were having one common thing, which is take the women, kill the men. And that's how a lot of killings happened. A mass genocide happened among the people, especially in northern India. I would not say southern India was never invaded. Southern India has its fair share of invasions happening and lots of people being killed. A good example is the Malabar kingdom, which was earlier a kingdom of the Samudri. The Samudri was a Indian native Indian king. They also called him the Zamorin of Calicut. Later, it came under the control of Ali Raja in association with Hyder Ali, and then all such things happened. So once the invasion started, problems also began to happen in southern India. Even right now in southern India, you can find pockets of such people who don't allow women to study. And especially I come from southern India. I've lived across southern India. I've seen such mindset present in states like Hyderabad. States like Telangana, where in cities like Hyderabad, like in old city to this day, I see such mindset happening. I see such people. At the same time, this is just the minuscule minority of women being oppressed, subjugated. Because historically, I also believe that the solution to this is to make people aware. See, a lot of people think that women going out, doing what they want to do, there is an inherent fear among the generation. Like, this is my personal experience, that my mother would think that women doing whatever they want to do is quite tricky, because the large scale media propaganda is to make women feel equal by doing whatever a man does, because women can do whatever they want to do, but to prove to be equal is not something that we should do. They have to do whatever they want to do and not to prove to be equal. Like, most of the feminist media messages which are out there is to want to make the woman feel like she should do anything that she wants to do and not be judged for it, because men also are judged for doing something bad. Women are also equally judged for it. But what prevents the people, when we take the context of India, the older generation, for imposing certain restrictions on the girls, is that most of the good stuff lies with the women. And once they fall into the propaganda of the Western media of that feminist narrative, I'm not saying feminism is bad. Feminism originated as a very wonderful concept in the West. But right now, what exists today in this context is not about empowerment. It's not about equality, but it's rather about a peevish desire to not be judged. It's a free license to do whatever they want to do and not be judged for it. Because judging is inherent to humans, and it happens with men as well as
I agree
women.
more with Tanvi. I'm sorry for interrupting without permission, because I've been constantly facing backlashes in the chat. That am I very parent oriented? I'm sorry, Synapse. Can I talk about this?
Yeah, please. If you want to,
Yes.
you can. Yeah.
Okay.
Just one second. Just one second. After
Okay, ma'am, I'll request you to let Tanvi complete first, and then I'll allow you to speak.
Okay, sure.
Tanvi, you can proceed.
Yes, and also, like Sujita was saying, that equal opportunities are provided, it starts from within. So about progressive mindset, what was being told time and time and again from the beginning of this chat is that rural India is oppressed, whereas people in the cities who gain education are more modern in terms of thinking. So let us first understand the definition of what is modern or what is progressive. What is progressive doesn't imply that it has to be a Western value. Progressive mindset has existed among Indians for a very long time. That has contributed to India's success as being one of the most advanced civilizations in the world till date, I would say. And what fostered this mindset among people is the reverence for women and providing equal opportunities for women. And also, if you take the contribution of women towards the development of Indian society, I would quote a lot of examples of women philosophers, women scholars who have always existed in Indian society. A very recent example would be Bhairavi Brahmani, who taught Ramakrishna Paramhamsa. There is no sort of a discrimination or oppression happening, because back in the day, scholarly nature of discussions or debates, even if you take the debate with Shankaracharya, there was a woman called Ubhaya Bharati, who was very well versed in the scriptures and all of the sciences. They were discussing everything. They were not just discussing religious matters as what constitutes a faith, but rather of all things. So if there are so many such scholars, so many such women who have contributed towards development of India's cultural heritage and the science and political administration. There have been multiple anecdotal archaeological evidences which prove that women can do everything that a man can. It's just that also one more thing is that women are biologically different at the end of the day. Men are biologically different. We just need to accept that. And as far as what we provide to alleviate these differences, what are the differences? We also need to understand what we define by equality. Equality in opportunity in education is what's being discussed here. And it is being provided. And rural India, people from a person from a village can be equally as progressive as anybody else, and a person from a city can also be as conservatist in terms of not letting them do what they want to do. A conservative mindset is not a bad thing at the end. It's a totally valid point for anyone to choose to be conservative or to choose to be liberal. But what dictates conservatism versus liberalism is completely different, and it's a very subjective stance one can take. So conservatism is definitely not a bad choice, because personally I align with what's quote unquote considered conservative as a mindset. And progressive mindset also is present in rural India. And when it comes to southern India, as somebody else pointed out, I think Danish with the Japanese username, that southern India was by and large not being subjected to immediate threat, and the inherent mindset was to protect the women. Like the invasions, like I said, once again, the underlying factor there, not just within India, all of the Islamic invasions which happened across the world, Arab victory extended until the Western area, like Spain. Spain was even invaded by the Arabs, but later on, the local population later came up once again. So when you look at all of these invasions, the underlying tone is that take the women, kill the men. And as we understand the biological differences, like of course, intellectual capacity, brain capacity, and to do a lot of things, women have their.
Tanvi, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you have been constantly going on. Others have their turn too.
Yeah, so I'll
adding
just
over
finish.
to Samriti, what I want to say is, Tanvi, you can finish in just a short. I mean, if you could, please.
Yes. So what I want to say at the end of the day is that we are fundamentally different, and we are having our own ways to contribute towards the growth of the society. Equality starts from within, and history does not directly say that women were continuously being oppressed, or there is no like patriarchal chauvinism is not relevant for the example of India, and it's actually a British thing which was borrowed. And for a solution, I'd like to say I also agree with Danish that the solution lies in making people understand about history, understand that Indian culture actually fosters the development of society, and they revere women. And there needs to be more of the awareness about this to improve women's situation at workforce by providing them with certain incentives. And that's how we can alleviate this disparity, if at all, if it exists in the minuscule minority.
Excuse
Thank you,
me,
Tanvi.
admins.
What I want to say is, just a second. Before letting Sujita ma'am speak, what I want to state is the event was actually, the group discussion was actually planned from 6:30 to 8, but it's 8:10 already. So what, I mean, I would request for those, whoever want to speak, will convey their point of view in a short, so that we can finish the event till at least 9 p.m. because the interest I can see is vast. Like still 10 people are raising their hands. So I would request everyone to convey their point of view in short. Okay, so yeah, ma'am, you are saying something, Sujita ma'am.
I'm so sorry for interrupting like this,
Yeah,
because
it's all
I
right.
have been constantly getting questions in the group that is my question, is my husband not actually contradicting the fact I give my salary to my parents? The first point is no, because that was the first point that I had put up when I got married to him. And this very much shows that he is from a very upbringing, I mean, from a family or from a background which is much more forward thinking. Because in our family, my mother-in-law was working until last year. She was the one who took care of my husband because of all the family issues. She was the one who took care of all the education because my father-in-law was not there at a very young age of my husband. He passed away. Okay. So probably I can say that all that my husband has, all the thinking that my husband has is mainly because he was brought up by a woman who is more forward thinking. Women should become forward thinking. And sorry, Kripanshu, people like you have to be thinking more, or probably should try to understand more that we women are just not responsible for our husbands and their husbands' household, because we were born to a different man and a woman. We are also equally responsible to them, and we know how to manage both the houses very easily. That's what I'm doing, because I'm the only daughter-in-law of the house. I have got no questions in the past 8 years. I am a good daughter-in-law and a good mother and a good wife and a good daughter till now. So it's all about thinking. Guys, please change your thinking, because if you change your thinking, probably everything around us will definitely change. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Snaps.
Excuse me, Samriddhi.
Adding a few points, let me speak. Okay, adding a few points to what ma'am said. If you look at my family, basically both of my parents are doctors, and my mom is same like Sujita ma'am. She's a very well self-independent woman. She has been educated from a family where her parents were not that educated, but still she completed her doctor's degree. She's a very successful
I'm
doctor.
so sorry. I'm extremely sorry for putting this point. My father came from a family where his parents were not educated, but my father was well educated. He was actually working abroad.
Okay, contrary to this, my mother's parents aren't that educated, but still my mom completed her doctor's degree. She's a successful doctor. She's running an NGO for all the females over here in Pune, and I mean for the reproductive health of all the females over here in Pune. So she is a very self-independent woman. What I want to say is the mindset of the entire family plays a very important role over here. As Sujita ma'am said, her family is very supportive in this case. And as many of the people I can see in the chat are kind of opposing this, it's not like that. I have seen many such families around me in my neighborhood where still, I mean, the women, even though she is having a very well qualified degree, she's kind of forced or buried to work and to be a housewife. That's it. Okay, she's kind of forced to be a housewife. This is what we are supposed to change, the mindset of that respective family, so that the woman who is educated, or even though she is not educated, she can still work in some other fields where education is not that necessary, right? And as Tanvi had said about the thing that a man can be at home and can take the care of his child as well. So what I want to state is the government actually gives paternity leave, but according to the statistics that I know, I had read it somewhere in an encyclopedia that only 18.5% of men actually take paternity leave. Okay, and almost 70% of women take maternity leave. So this statistics clearly states how women are oriented more towards their family as compared to men. So this is what we are supposed to change, so that the ratio of 18% and 70% becomes equal, becomes 50-50. That's what we are aiming for.
Ayush bhai, may I speak please for just a minute?
Okay, please. You are trying to speak from so long, but still proceed. You may go ahead.
Okay. So kudos to both Thallavi and Suprita ma'am. आप दोनों से ज्यादा रैशनल पॉइंट किसी ने इधर चैट पे नहीं लिखा है। और दूसरा पॉइंट ये कि मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा, पहले दो स्टेटमेंट्स बोलना चाहूंगा। Focus on constants because variables keep changing and change is the only constant। ये दोनों स्टेटमेंट एक दूसरे को कॉन्ट्राडिक्ट करते हैं, बट अगर आप इन दोनों स्टेटमेंट पे फोकस करेंगे तो आपको पता चलेगा इन दोनों का पर्सपेक्टिव अलग है अगर आप डीप सोचो। और ये बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है। अगर आप देखोगे, हमें ये देखना है कि आज की सोसाइटी में हम ये मीटिंग क्यों कर रहे हैं। बहुत अच्छा टॉपिक है जेंडर इक्वालिटी, पर मेन बात ये कि अब तक आप में से किसी ने भी देखा है कि कोई भी इस बारे में बात करो कि मैन क्या इनइक्वालिटी फेस करते हैं? नहीं। तो मैं यही कहना चाहूंगा, हमें बल्कि हम इतनी देर से ये प्रूव करना चाह रहे हैं कि मैन आर ऑप्रेसिंग वुमेन, और हम ये प्रूव करना चाह रहे हैं अपनी बातों से कि मैन वुमेन को
we aren't trying to prove. Let me speak. Let me change the topic because you are questioning the topic. The topic is not how men are trying to suppress women, but the topic is how the mindset of the people is trying to suppress women. That's what the
I am
topic
coming to that. I am coming to that. तो मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ, हमें इस मीटिंग में ये भूल जाना चाहिए कि हम एक दूसरे को ओप्रेस करें, बल्कि हमें इसको बिल्कुल अलग पर्सपेक्टिव से सोचना चाहिए। अगर हम ये प्रूव करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि हाँ बिल्कुल इस मीटिंग का टॉपिक यही है कि हम दोनों कैसे चेंज लेके आ सकते हैं, बट रियलिटी ये है कि जितनी भी डिस्कशन हुई अब तक ग्रुप में, उसमें यही आ रहा है कि मैन आर ओप्रेसिव टू वुमेन, और यही मैन प्रूव करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं बार बार कि मैन आर नॉट। ठीक है, तो अब मैं यही कहना चाहूंगा कि हमें ये सोचना चाहिए कि हम अपने आप को कैसे बदल सकते हैं। हमें इस बारे में हमें सिर्फ वन साइडेड बात नहीं करनी चाहिए। ये मीटिंग खुद एक एग्जांपल है कि हम कितना ज्यादा ओप्रेसिव है वुमेन के ऊपर, क्योंकि इनहेरेंट मतलब ऊपर ऊपर से तो नहीं है, बट अंदर से कितना ज्यादा ओप्रेसिव है वुमेन के ऊपर, क्योंकि अब तक यही प्रूव हो रहा है कि करने की कोशिश की जा रही है कि मेन आर नॉट टू वुमेन। हमें
Okay,
अभी फोकस करना चाहिए।
clarifying to you, as you have said, clarifying to you, what I want to say is everybody has a different point of view and thinking. Now let me clarify to you in Hindi, okay, so that everyone can understand over here. Basically, इस topic, इस group discussion का main जो motto था, that was to focus on how genders are discriminated, right? But if you look at general statistics, in 80% of this, 80% of the times, women are discriminated. Except it, they have been, they have been being discriminated. Even my mom has been many a times buried by the societal thinking. My grandmother has been buried hundreds of times by the societal thinking, and I have noticed in 80 to 85% of times. I'm not saying that men are trying to bury them. In some cases they do, but the most important factor that buries a woman and her thoughts is the society and its thinking. That's what we are focusing on. Okay, ये भी हो सकता है कि कभी कभी we might be even suppressing a man. It might be an issue. बहुत बार ऐसा किया जाता है कि a man is molested or even a man is raped. In some cases ये भी होता है. I'm not denying that. But in 80 to 85% of the cases, women have to face an issue just because of the so-called societal thinking. And that's the reason ये जो discussion हुआ इसमें ज्यादातर women discrimination पे focus किया गया था, because in most of the cases women are discriminated. I'm a man and I know the situation over here in my surroundings. In some cases men might be, but in most of the cases women are. That's what I want to say, clarifying to you, Uchicha. Proceeding ahead,
Yes,
Sky,
yes.
you can convey.
वो मेरा बस एक पॉइंट रह गया, 20 सेकंड्स लूंगा। ओके, तो दिस वाज माय थर्ड पॉइंट एक्चुअली आयुष भाई, दिस वाज माय थर्ड पॉइंट। फॉर एग्जांपल सुप्रीता मैम सेड कि वो कि सोसाइटी क्यों मैं क्वेश्चन करती है कि वुमेन अपने पेरेंट्स को क्यों के साथ क्यों नहीं रह सकती, मेल उन्होंने एक पॉइंट बोला था। तो मैं यही कहना चाहता था, यही बात है, बिकॉज ये हम नॉर्मल कंसीडर करते हैं, हमें इस बारे में ज्यादा सोचने की जरूरत है। हमें चेंज इज दी ओनली कांस्टेंट, जो कि दुबई और बाकी एरियाज फोकस करें कि चेंज इज दी ओनली कांस्टेंट, जबकि हाँ हमारे ज्यादातर लोग यही समझ रहे हैं कि हाँ बस वुमेन तो मेल के साथ ही रहेगी, उसके माँ बाप के साथ। दिस इज नॉट हाउ इट शुड वर्क इन फ्यूचर।
Exactly. Okay, got your point. Thank you, Chicha. I would allow others to speak because it's been a bit long. So Sky, you can proceed with your point of view.
Thank you, Ayush, for the opportunity. So, I mean, there are a lot of things that can be spoken about, and we have been talking about it last 2 hours, that what women have to face and that men don't have to face, and how it is disadvantages for women. And we can add so many more points, but then I'll keep it short and quickly point out few things, which I think, I don't know if anybody talked about dowry, which is so prevalent in our society. And then most families, parents work toward collecting dowry instead of making sure that their child is well educated and take up a job and maybe later on take care of them. Okay, so that's one issue which I think all of us missed. And somebody mentioned about stereotyping in media, objectification of women. Yeah, that is true, but then stereotyping in media doesn't stop just till stereotyping. I mean, just objectification of women. It goes on to stereotype gender roles of men and women. If it is a woman, she has to do this. She has to take care of the child. She has to wash. She has to clean she has to go to the kitchen, and this continues to be it is very. This is what media shows. There's a big change happening after the emergence of OTT platforms, because a lot of women storytellers are coming, and then women telling women's stories. That is bringing a change, definitely, how media sees women. Then there's one more issue about inheritance of rights, about property, right? So law wise, women are equally, they get the equal share of their parents' right property, but then currently I think only 15% women hold properties in India despite the law. So a lot of women give up their properties because culturally they would be considered a bad daughter if they ask for their property, because culturally it is accepted that the property goes to the son. So that's one more change that I would want to see. And about domestic like domestic care and even the parental role. Like I know people like who go to same office, work together, come back home, and it's a woman's responsibility to run the house before to sleep, and after she wakes up it's her responsibility to make food and everything clean and everything. The husband can sit, watch TV and whatever. Like for him it's a it's off time, relax, but then for the woman it doesn't stop even after work and before work. So I'm sure there could be exceptions. People would say like, this is, I've seen this the happening other way around, but then this is what happens usually. Parental role for mothers, it's naturally a motherly instinct comes, but then we cannot we cannot let the father say that, oh, he doesn't have any responsibility toward taking care of the child, and he's good enough if he provides for the education or the financial. If he takes care of the finance, it's enough for him. So we cannot stop there. And around, like, there is, and I also want to talk about implementation of laws. Like there are so many laws government has bought, like, which are for women, but their implementation is really bad. So somebody could harass, like I have so many female friends who have told me about they have been touched inappropriately in a bus or in a crowded market or anywhere. Like almost everybody has such an experience. People go on to do because they know that they'll get away. There are laws, but then people get away. People are confident that they'll get away with that. Why do even people rape? Like there are people who rape despite such strict laws because they think that they'll get away. So implementation of laws is very important. Then sanitation and hygiene around women's issue is also a very important thing. Like yesterday I was watching a series called Kohra, and in that series there are very small scene where there's a police constable, female police constable, who was on duty, and then the place where they go to investigate, she asked that person's house that, can I use your washroom? So for women, it's not like in the rural areas, there are like in schools and all, sanitation and hygiene is a big issue, and government need to take care of, like, see toward that, and how can they improve the digital divide. Like currently digital device is so used that mostly it's men who use phone. Like for women, it's around, I think, 25 to 30%. In India, at least in India, only 25 to 30% women are on, like, who have phone, and the rest is men. So that's one more issue. And also the political representation. My God, that is, I can't think, like, whoever, like whatever women politicians that have come in this country, they were basically daughters or wives of a male politician or a prominent figure. There's not a single, I can't think of bearing 2-3 people, I can't think of many who basically rose from zero to some post in a political field. And also, like, currently there are so political representation is so low of women. If there are no women lawmakers who are like, so although men are doing decent job, but then if there are women lawmakers, they can make better laws for women and implement, like, focus on implementing those laws. Like women in position of power are so less, like not just in politics, but in every dimension, women are, like, in position of power, women are so less. That needs to change. We need to bring women in position of power so that they can take decisions through the perspective of a woman. So that also, I mean, if we think there could be more things, but yeah, the other side of it, like there's a lot of, nowadays there's a lot of dissatisfaction among men regarding the laws. Like they feel that laws that exist in India are very strict, and if they get wrong, they don't get justice, which I believe, and I personally believe that laws exist for a reason, and the reason is and they should exist. But then I do sympathize with this emotion that they are very strict and there is no scope for men. Basically, once you get into a legal case regarding gender laws and you're not in, you don't have any influence being a man, you can't really do anything. So I feel like government definitely needs to, because the society is constantly changing. We can't see that all women are destitutes. Okay, there are women who might be taking advantage of these laws. So I think government should definitely look into it. But I'm not at all advocating that these laws should not exist, but I'm saying that they should definitely look into the current laws and how men who are being wronged with these laws, like they could be protected. And something that previously someone was speaking, and I wanted to say, while it is great that individuals go on to achieve what they want, right, despite all the hurdles and difficulties in life, but when we talk about social change and policy around the issue, we cannot put the onus on the individual. It is very harmful, actually. We have to just remove what the individual can do. We have to think what, as a society and as a policy making body, what we can do. I think that would be a better way of going forward around it. And one more thing, like a lot of people pointed out about invasions. So I would say this, because it has invasions, it has that religious angle to it, and mostly people, they don't want to say it, but then they say Muslim ruler's name or something like that. But I just wanted to point out that irrespective of invasions, women across the world have been suppressed equally. And in southern India, women are doing better. That's because of all the social movement that happened after independence. That's the reason why women are doing, like, on all the social markers, women are better than compared to the North Indian women. That's because of all the social movements that happened in southern India, not because some invaders didn't reach here. Women across the world have been equally suppressed. And yeah, I think that's it. I've
May you
already
kindly
spoken
name
a lot.
any?
Yeah.
May you kindly name any such कोई भी ऐसी movement जो कि हुई है South में?
I can't recall the. I mean, if there are people from Tamil Nadu and Kerala, they could actually say. I'll let you know in a minute. I'll search and I'll let you, because there have been movements, but then I don't remember the names.
I had read an article जो इसी पे था कि तुमने बिल्कुल सही कहा, मुस्लिम रूलर्स का मेजर रोल नहीं रहा। एक पॉइंट ये रहा था जो मेन इंडिया के कंटेक्स्ट में, वर्ल्ड के बारे में अलग पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू है मुगल मुस्लिम रूलर्स से, बट इंडिया के पॉइंट में जो मेजर रूल कारण है इस डिवाइड का, एक तो आता है मुस्लिमों से, बल्कि उससे भी बड़ा इम्पैक्ट ये है कि जो हमारा साउथ का एरिया है और जो हमारा नॉर्थ ईस्ट का एरिया है, तो उधर जो क्रॉप्स उगाई जाती हैं, साउथ में राइस उगाया जाता है ज़्यादा, और नॉर्थ ईस्ट में काफ़ी ज़्यादा हार्ड लेबर वाली क्रॉप्स उगाई जाती हैं। तो उधर मैन और फीमेल को दोनों को पार्टिसिपेट करना पड़ता था। पर अगर नॉर्थ में देखें तो हमेशा से वीट ज़्यादा उगाया जा रहा है, और क्योंकि वीट ज़्यादा उगाया जा रहा है तो फिर उसमें मेल्स का ज़्यादा पार्ट रहा, तो हमेशा से मेल ही था जो कि इकोनॉमिकली फैमिली को में कंट्रीब्यूट कर रहा था। तो इसलिए तुम बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हो। अगर हम दो पर्सपेक्टिव है, मुगल रूलर्स का भी है, बट ये वाला भी है। और राजा राम मोहन रॉय के काफी सारे खतों में लिखा है कि भाई आई सपोर्ट ब्रिटिश राज, बल्कि वो एक ब्रिटिश राज के एजेंट थे, तो उनके मूवमेंट्स पे प्लीज फोकस मत करना।
Yeah, and about the like movements that you asked me to name it, I think I just Googled it, and if anyone wants to, they can also Google. It's like self-respect movement or justice movement, and then there is Vokka Ligara Sangha, and like there are many actually. So because of these movements, there are a lot of things on the social markers where South does better than North because of these movements, and not because Muslims didn't reach South. So that's a recent thing happening because of the of the politics to put Muslims in bad light, and all those things keep happening. But the real reason, if you pick up a paper around the issue about you would get your answers. Yeah, I think that's it from my side. Thank you guys.
Guys, तुमने बहुत ज्यादा अच्छे पॉइंट्स डाले भाई।
Exactly,
यही कहना चाहता था।
the debate is official. Let's not discuss this. Okay, let's not discuss this. The debate is being recorded. Uchich, I request you not to discuss such an official stuff. Moving ahead, Sayan Mukhopadhyay, if you want to say something.
Yes, sir. Hello and namaskar to one and all. As we are discussing a topic that lies at the heart of our just society, that is gender equality, I would like to highlight a group whose struggles for recognition and acceptance often go unnoticed and unheard. That is the transgender community. People who identify themselves as non-binary or trans are often skeptical or scared to speak about themselves not being male or female because of the depiction of trans people in the mainstream media. They have been depicted in very bad light. They have always been made to be the laughing stock in the films. Characters were dehumanized, and the people who played these characters, for instance, like Bobby Darling, she didn't have any other choice. Either she had to sell herself at the streets or comply with these chauvinistic, heteronormative, toxic patriarchal scripts, which used to either objectify women or dehumanize the transgender people. The narrative about the transgender people is to be heavily blamed on the people's misconceptions about the community. Even today, we seldom talk about anything apart from the binaries at all, that is the male and female. We didn't even talk about transgenders being human at all. We made it clear that they are a part of the circus. They are going to be there to be made fun of, or to be depicted in such a very bad very bad light. And this is attributed to the social conditioning of these humans, and the social conditioning which was very terrible. We have been conditioned to believe that the only job that trans people will have is either beg on the streets or throw themselves at random men and indulge into sex work. That is the only job that these trans people have been doing all these years. They're on the streets today. It is majorly because of our inability to help them. Even they have 2 hands, 2 legs, and the full capacity to work and be the productive member of the society. But even today, the majority of our population thinks that or can't be a singer or an actor. But an artist is an artist, a doctor is a doctor. The doctor may be male, female, or transgender, but that is secondary. That comes later. We are going to the doctor to get treated. We're not going to a transgender doctor or going to a male doctor. We don't have a, basically we don't even have conversations about the transgender people, even today in schools or colleges. I applaud and thank the Synapse Society for having this discussion, because even today, topics like these are often shoved under the very apparent carpet of the society because of the very apparent stigma that is present. If we don't give the transgender people the basics, that is the basic respect that they deserve, the basic education that we all must be entitled to, if we don't give them the basic rights, then how will they aspire to become better and productive citizens of the society? In my personal knowledge, there are so many closeted transgender people who work in companies who are unable to use the washrooms because there are no gender neutral washrooms there. They have to wait till the lunch break so that they can go off to another restaurant or whatever, to another restaurant, so that they are not judged at their workplaces. These are basic things that everybody deserves, like basic dignity and basic integrity. People nowadays are so judgmental that they catcall these transgenders when they come begging for money. Baba, you have not left them for any other work. You do not give them work to serve in the army. You're not entailing them into these doctor services. And when they come begging for money, you catcall them and say such mean and condescending things. The trans community is asking for equal rights in a democracy. How shameful and how demeaning can that be? They're asking for basic respect. They're not asking for any special rights. They're not asking to lay please lay the red carpet for me or give me special extra salary. Nothing of that sort. They're just asking for mere jobs so that they do not have to sell themselves at the streets to earn a basic living. Also, they are often called the other gender. What is this other gender? It is very clear. It's transgender or non-binary. It is like, abhi other gender bana diya hai, now you categorize yourself in this other. It is so condescending. If it is said to a man or a woman, like, I'm giving you this other gender, now you categorize yourself. A woman would be like, it is outraging my modesty, and she in no manner is wrong. Transgenders are even asked to prove themselves. Baba, how will she prove? Are they stupid that they would go around lying themselves being transgenders in a society that looks down upon transgenders and judges them? They would literally go around lying about their own gender. In fact, the other day I read that they are not even allowing trans people in the army. Arey Baba, this person wishes to serve the army, but you're still stuck at his gender. For 1,000 men who do not want to join the army, you have a person. So, इससे आपका क्या कम होता है if you enroll this person into your into your army? Basically, we are dehumanizing someone to such an extent that they are on the streets so that we feel good about ourselves, which is so toxic. In our history, and people also in our history, we used to celebrate transgenders in our history. They were considered demigods. भगवान के बाद मतलब राजा महाराज उनकी ओपिनियन सुनते थे, उन्हीं को लेकर मतलब they used to be like the demigods. After worshipping gods, we used to worship them. हमारे पुराने राजा महाराजा इनकी वाणी सुनते थे, इनसे सलाह मशवरा करते थे. उधर से लेकर अभी हम लोगों ने उनको रास्ते पे फेंक दिया. To fend for yourselves, to go about begging or just sell yourselves at these things. In our history also, these transgender people, they used to be the protectors of our queens because they had the power to be a man. If any man used to invade it, they used to beat them up. The counselors to these kings, the royal eunuchs, they used to be these counselors because they had this 360-degree perception of things which men and women generally don't have. Also, transgender depicts this duality of gender, what we call Ardhanareshwar, amalgamation of Shiva and Shakti, amalgamation of energies that created humanity, which only when male and female energies mix, humanity is born. And transgender people have those male and female energies in them. And today we treat them as shit. Therefore, by doing so, we are in a way disrespecting the Holy Almighty. Our history, our culture, they did not segregate them from the society. It is something that we have done. Our history talks about inclusivity of all genders and diversification across all spectrums. It is high time that we change our notions and give them the respect that they deserve. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Sayan. Thank you so much. That was indeed an amazing point. I was about to add the LGBTQ community, but the women education was so much extended in the meet that, we couldn't, I couldn't add all those points that were planned in my mind. Adding over to what you said, obviously the transgenders are discriminated a lot in today's age. Stating some examples, I know Saisha Shinde, she's basically a fashion designer working in Bollywood. So, beforehand, before being transferred into a female, she was a male firstly, but the way she was treated by the society for being a transgender was a bit disrespectful, as it was stated by her in an interview. And she also told about an incident where any journalist, or I guess any of her relatives, molested her for a reason that she was a transgender. And there were many incidences in her past life as where basically she was bullied for being a transgender again. But then officially, publicly, she converted himself into a female, and now she's one of the most successful fashion designers in present times. And I remember one more case from South America. There was a criminal, a serial killer named Camper. I don't remember his name. His surname was Camper or something like that. So basically, he was molested by many of his family members, hundreds of his family members, hundreds of times, multiple times, just for being a transgender. And that's what made him mentally unstable, and that's what made him a serial killer. So these are the many incidences where basically transgenders are kind of discriminated in today's societies as well. Whereas if you look at the ancient society, I was reading the history of Jaipur kingdoms, of all the kings and kingdoms that were active in Jaipur in the ancient times, where basically only the transgenders were allowed to be present around the Maharani. Okay, no one was allowed to be present around the Maharani in her vicinity except the transgenders. So transgenders were respected at such an extent 500 or 1,000 years ago in different parts of the country or in the globe. We can't see the same in today's age. We can't see, not even in the Western countries, as I've already stated, Camper. There are hundreds of examples where they still are discriminated. So thank you, Sayan, for adding this point of transgenders, as this was excluded by me. Proceeding further, I would like Niharika to express her point of view, as she has been raising her hand for a while.
Yes, thank you. First of all, I would like I would totally agree with Sayan. Raised a very, very nice point, something out of the box. And since we have deviated from our topic, which was related to education, I'd like to go on a limb here and say that majority of this discussion, I think 95% of this discussion has been focused on women. So I think our topic is gender inequality. And
no, clarify you.
This is
Sorry
my
to
own
interrupt you.
perspective.
I'm really sorry to interrupt you. I had a plan of hundreds of topics to be discussed, but women education was discussed for 2 hours. So that was the reason
Yeah,
I
yeah.
excluded the rest of the topics. You
No,
know,
no,
it,
no.
it
Yeah,
went on
yeah.
discussion
I'm
and
not
went.
pointing out.
Yeah,
No, I'm not
you can
pointing that
continue.
out. I'm just keeping a very different perspective of mine because we are here to put our perspectives. So I think in all this, we forgot a very crucial part, that how men are treated. And by treatment, I do not mean bad treatment. I mean the stereotypes. I don't think anyone has ever seen a man object to his right, so-called right of working. Every man has to work. This has to work has been so deep rooted in our minds that men, since they are born and since the time they gain some knowledge, they are made familiar with the topic that they have to work whatever be the condition. So if a man is unemployed or he is seeking out work and he's not getting it, he'll get depressed. And again, there has been this stigmatization of mental health issues with men. So again, if he goes into depression, he cannot speak about it because, you know, as a man, he has to work first because that's the priority and that's what the society wants. And if that doesn't happen, his life is unsuccessful. That is what is the stereotype. So if we're talking about women, and Sayan stated about transgender, which is a very nice topic and which is a very crucial and precise example. I think I would like to bring the examples of men, that women have their issues, but I am very specific with my point here that men, we have no idea that what has been going on in their minds, because women's issues are, of course, there are a lot of women's issues going on in this world, but if we only confine our points to men, everything with their social issues, their mental issues are related to this one phrase, which is they have to work, they have to find a living, a livelihood to sustain their families, to sustain their children, their parents, everything. So I think one of the major issues which we cannot continue on this now because of course we have limited time. So I would like to conclude it here with my point that women have their women as a society have their issues, but we cannot ignore the side of men as well. Thank you.
Yeah, adding to what Niharika said, we can't ignore the side of men. So I'm a man myself, so I would like to express how men are discriminated as well, as far as I remember some cases. So basically, if you, firstly, you look at the alimony rights that are given by the, not just the government of India, but many other governments of different countries as well. The alimony rights, as far as I know, are provided only to women, okay, and not to men. So this might be the first case where, men are discriminated as well, not the women. Okay, and moving ahead, there are many rules.
Sorry,
Just
Ayush,
let
so
me
that I
complete.
would like to interject.
Yeah,
There are
please.
two things that I would like to say. The first thing is a suggestion that those who have already spoken should not be given the chance now, so that we can wrap it up. Okay,
Yeah,
and
that's
those
what
who
I
have
was.
not spoken shall be given chances first, and if still more time is left, we'll give them the chance. The second thing is, I do not have any problem with any of the points, but one point regarding Ardhanareshwar was raised, and since it hurts my beliefs, I would like that such points are not raised. Okay, just that like that is related to any religious beliefs. Okay, other points there is no problem. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Vignesh. And adding to what Vignesh said, like I can see 5 hands raised. So I think only these 5 people will be allowed to speak. No more hands will be raised. Okay, no more discussions will be carried out so that we can wrap up the event before 9 p.m. And as I was continuing with what I was saying, where men are basically discriminated. So, there are many reforms made in the constitution of different countries where basically for raping a woman or for molesting a woman, the men are imprisoned for n number of years, depending upon the constitution of the country. But we can find out many examples where this law okay, was basically misused by many of the women. To state an example, I can state a movie that might be not an actual, that was inspired from a true story. Okay, a movie named Article 365, Article 375, sorry, where basically a woman, puts the charge on a man for raping her, but she wasn't actually raped. And the man got imprisoned for 14 years. So these might be all the cases summed up together where men are discriminated as well. In some cases, men are. In most of the cases, women are. And LGBTQ, as we already discussed, is obviously discriminated in many of the incidents in today's society. Proceeding, Sai, I can see your hand raised, so you can go ahead. Sai.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I was waiting from a long time. Everyone put their points above, and most of the points are covered. And mostly, I think that it's my perspective. So I can be wrong or I can be right, according to you. I think that political power is a thing which is making this thing happen now, mainly because recently in Karnataka, some political parties use gender as their power to win. Again, I am not supporting any party or anything, no concerns, but that was not right. They just gave of, yeah, of course they won, but they gave free facilities for women and some things. But yes, they did one thing wrong, which is to all women they gave free transport facilities and some more things, which was wrong, because not all women are unable to lead a good lifestyle. They thought they were like, no woman is able to do anything on her own, so we'll give support to the all the women. That was the wrong thing, I thought. So this proves that the higher powers are still engaging in the inequality process. I mean that they are using this thing to for their own advantage. Like some time ago, ma'am said uh, one guy, I don't remember his name, Kashyap. No, not Kashyap. I guess yeah, some guy. He didn't believe that ma'am's life was such good with her father and her husband. I think that he was also not right. He was not exposed to the whole part of the society. He saw only one part of the society. Ma'am, I like to thank you to tell your story, because that I saw two people who were encouraged by your story. One who was willing to give all her pennies to her parents, earnings. I mean, earnings to her parents, and the one who was asking questions to ma'am. He got to know that there is other side of the society too, which he was not aware of. So, thank you, ma'am. And this thought must be spread to every single person of the world in order to eradicate this evil of the society. It is the evil of society, though, because it remains in our thoughts. And if this thought is given to some other people, they pass on them to some other people. Again, this becomes a chain. Instead, if we uh, give the thought of the good one, the good part, like ma'am said, her father was very uh, free with her in terms of educating her.
Sai,
And
Sai, if you could express yourself in a bit short, because it's already 8:48. So
yeah. I just want to say that ma'am is very doing a very good thing. She said to us she said her story. So I saw two people here encouraged about it. I hope that everyone here encourage people to eradicate this, and don't think like everyone she's separate or he's separate, and go on in the life.
Yeah,
That's it.
thank you, Sai. Soham Mandal, just express yourself in a short so that we can wrap up the event before 9. Okay.
I would like to propose a solution. Many states give freebies as to their citizens. I would like to request these states to give them on a basis of education. If somebody has a good education level, then that person should be given more freebies. They are given equally to everybody. If this will incentivize education. Also, I would like to point out that when I would like to point out that housewives should be given this freebies program. Means the more the education level of the housewives, the greater should be the freebies amount. Also, suppose many people have told that a dad can be a stay-at-home dad, also a mom can be a stay-at-home mom. But I go against this. I feel like that if everybody tries to stay at home, then who will run the society? This society must be run by somebody. That is all I had to say.
Thank you, Soham. And Mansoor, you will be the last person to speak.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
And I'm speak in Hindi actually. I'm
No issues, no issues, no issues.
एक्चुअली मैं जब से स्टार्ट हुई मीटिंग तब से सबको सुन ही रहा हूँ और बीच में मेरी कनेक्शन खराब होने की वजह से मैं बार-बार हैंड ड्राइव से पीछे जा रहा था। पॉइंट से मैं बात करना चाहूंगा इस पे कि जेंडर इक्वलिटी जो है, सबसे पहले बात तो कि एक पीछे में सुना रजिता खन्ना ने कुछ बात कर रहा था जिसमें एक कॉन्ट्रडिक्ट हुआ था किसी दो के बीच में। उन्होंने कहा कि ये जो आप सोच रहे हो, वो रजिता खन्ना ने किसी को कहा कि आप ये सोच रहे हो, तो मेरा इसमें एक बात ये रहेगा कि सोचने पर ही है कि जेंडर इक्वलिटी क्या है। इसको हम सही से डिस्क्राइब करते हैं बात को कि जेंडर इक्वलिटी जो है वो सोचने पर ही हमारा है, क्योंकि जो भी मैन और वोमेन है वो सारा का सारा इक्वल है बट नॉट सेम। अब यहाँ पे अगर आपको कुछ एग्जांपल दे दे कि हाउ टू इक्वल एंड हाउ टू सेम, इक्वल और सेम दो वर्ड हम यहाँ पे यूज कर रहे हैं, दोनों अलग है इस जगह पर जहाँ पे आप जेंडर इक्वलिटी के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं उस जगह पर। तो अब इसको हम थोड़ा सा एग्जांपल लेते हैं, जैसे कि एक तो सबसे पहली बात है कि वुमेन्स एंड मेंस आर फिजिकली डिफरेंट, बायोलॉजिकली डिफरेंट एंड साइकोलॉजिकली डिफरेंट। ठीक, सबसे पहले बात तो इसमें डिफरेंस है। दूसरी बात अगर हम कहें कि अगर ये तो एक इक्वलिटी के बाद जब करेंगे तो इसमें इक्वल क्या है कि आखिर अगर ये सब चीज फिजिकली अलग है, ये सब कुछ अलग है, तो आखिर इक्वलिटी इक्वलिटी की अगर बात करें तो कुछ एग्जांपल हैं, जैसे कि मेंस और वुमेन एक जैसा बराबर नहीं हो सकता, हर जगह पर एक जैसा बराबर नहीं हो सकता। जैसे कि आपके घर पे अगर कोई चोर आ जाए और आप रात में सो रहे हो, आपको मालूम पड़ा कि आपके घर पे चोर आया, तो आप अगर अच्छे मर्द हो ना तो आप कभी अपने वाइफ को ये नहीं कहोगे कि आप जाके मार के आओ। इस पे ज्यादा है यहाँ पे ताकत के मामले में, तो उस जगह पे मर्द को जाना चाहिए। दूसरी बात, अगर यहाँ पे प्यार जताने की बात आ जाए कहीं पे, तो वहां पे मुझे लगता है कि ज्यादा
Mansoor, I guess your network isn't proper. I mean, I can't hear you. Okay, so I guess there is a network issue from Mansoor's side. So we don't have any other option rather than continuing because I can't hear him. Okay, so as I had already
Hello?
stated, Mansoor will be the last person speaking because it's already 8:53 as I can see, and we have to wrap up before 9 p.m. because we had actually planned the group discussion for 1.5 hours, but it went on to 2.5 hours, which is actually great because I'm glad to see so much of participation by different participants. Now, being the host, I will derive some conclusions as I had already stated, and after the conclusions, I'll state the results, the best speakers, and of course the perks they'll be getting and the other speakers will be getting as well, and then we will end the meet, of course. So talking about the conclusions, what I'll say is, we collectively agreed upon gender inequality that exists in India and across different countries, in different societies, in different perspectives as well. All the participants identified, multiple factors contributing to gender equality, such as I guess traditional gender roles, stereotypes, unequal access to education and economic opportunities, discriminatory law and policies as well of government of different countries, The group recognized that the gender inequality intersects with other forms of discrimination such as race, ethnicity, as someone had already stated, LGBTQ. So we have derived this conclusion as well. Nextly, we discussed the detrimental effects of gender inequality on individuals, including limited opportunities, wage gaps, lack of representation in leadership and positions. And last but not the least, we also discussed importance of education. Of course, we discussed it for 1.5 hours, empowering women and girls, engaging men, policy changes, and long-term commitment. So these were the all things we discussed. We derived conclusions. We had a healthy discussion, and I'm glad to see so much of participation because this was the first group discussion of Synapse Society, and I'm hoping for much more active participation in the future times. Proceeding to the results. Now, what we had actually decided was we will be giving certificates only to 3 people, the 3 best speakers. But after seeing so much of active participations, I have decided that we will be giving certificates. Synapse Society will be giving certificates to the best 5 speakers. Okay, I'll name them. And all of those who spoke, like apart from these 5, will be given a shout out on our official Instagram page as well. All of those who spoke, I have noted the names of all the people who were speaking from the last 2.5 hours, and the best 5 people will get a certificate, official certificate from Synapse Society as well. So the best 5 speakers are, according to me, okay, I might be wrong, but being the host, I have the right to declare the best 5 speakers. The first one is Tanvi Vedam. She was very firm with her points. The second one is Niharika. Niharika, may I know your full name if you're here?
Yes, sir, it's Niharika Dhakate, and thank you.
Dhakarte, right? Can you spell it?
Dhakate, Dhakate.
Thank you so much, Niharika. The third person is Sky. Sky, may I know your full name?
I'm Saurav Kumar Yadav.
Saurav Kumar Yadav. Okay. Okay, the next one is Sayan Mukhopadhyay. And the last one is Sujita Kanan. So these were the 5 best speakers of today. These 5 will be awarded certificates, official certificates signed by me myself from the Synapse Society. And the rest of all who spoke, who expressed themselves will be given a shout out on our official Instagram page tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Okay, all of them. I have noted down the names of each and every one of them who were speaking. I can see like 30 names in my list. So yeah. Concluding to this meet, thank you so much for attending. Just let me finish. We can stop the recording and then you can ask your doubt. Okay. So concluding the meet, thank you so much for attending this session. This was the first group discussion. The future events will be having a guest lecture, which is planned on 23rd, and we'll be having a mega event planned on 27th and 28th. These are the future plans. But talking about the group discussion, we'll have another group discussion on such a sensational topic after quiz 2. Okay, because quiz 2 is just after 18 days, so we have to focus on our studies as well. So we'll organize another group discussion after quiz 2 as soon as the quiz 2 ends. And then furthermore, such group discussions will be conducted fundamentally, regularly, and then the winners will be announced accordingly as well. Because what I feel is the main motto of group discussion is not to compete against each other, but to discuss a certain point, express yourself, and then derive conclusions. That's what group discussion aims for, and debate aims for a competitive atmosphere. That's what I feel. So we'll be conducting such group discussions regularly, and hereby I conclude that the group discussion for 19th of July is over.